Tom and Dan Watering Holes. Just head over to tomanddanwateringholes.com and you can check out some of our bar partners and great venues that you can go and get a libation or maybe take in a show.
Yep, like 1010 Brewery. We've known Mike Wallace, the owner of 1010, forever.
Wonderful beer. And out of a lot of the breweries in Orlando, it has the most like hometown kind of a vibe to me. Like They kind of just pull up the garage doors. They got music blasting. They got the big green egg out front. He's grilling up some hamburgers or whatever the kitchen wants to do that day.
And he's been doing it as long as we've been podcasting, which is a while.
Yeah, he's a lifer.
He knows how to brew awesome beer, so support 1010 Brewery. Also,
we got retweeted by these guys last night on X, and that's Tap That Beer House in Davenport, Florida. I saw pictures of it. Yeah, they give you a pint glass, and then they just turn you loose.
Yep, and they have a ton of taps, and so you can go around with that pint glass and try any beer you want.
Yeah, or
it's
wine.
Like your own personal beer fest.
Or wine. They added wine, and they got TVs everywhere.
Yeah. So if you want an unbelievable option of beers, wine, I mean, they do it all at Tap That Beer House in Davenport. So swing by there, ask for Tom and Dan Kuzi. Also, Salty Sisters. I talked to Tiffany yesterday. She's doing a toga party for her 40th birthday party.
Hold on a second.
At Salty Sisters. That's going to be April 12th.
I might have to go to that.
Yeah. I already said we'd go.
I definitely want to. Oh, you just want to show off your new body to Tiffany.
No, why would you say that?
Yeah, just to make you uncomfortable.
It's a toga party.
Well, the only reason I'm going is to see Tiffany in a toga.
Well, why did you say that?
Because I like to make it uncomfortable.
Also, we've got Will's Pub, Dirty Laundry, and that's right there, Mills 50.
Yeah, Little Indies is there. They got tons of different shows this weekend. I know they have a ton of stuff going on. Sanford, we got a lot of bar partners there, whether it's the Sullivan, which is an Irish bar.
Yep.
They have Irish food, handcrafted bar. It's beautiful. Or our partners that we've worked with for years and years, the West End Trading Company and Celery City Craft. Those are great bars, and whether you want bar food like the joint that's inside of West End with great beach beers with a reggae vibe, or if you just want more of a sophisticated cocktail or something a little more craft, Celery City Crafts got you on lock.
Or if you want seafood, the Current Seafood Counter right there at College Park. They're about to open up a second location. There's a location in Henry's Depot in Sanford. Just look up the Current Seafood Counter. Delicious seafood.
Yeah, Northeastern beers. They got coastal cocktails. You can go in there and get yourself a $7 well drink.
Just tell someone when you go to a watering hole that Tom and Dan sent you because it helps the partnership. It's tomanddanwateringholes.com. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, and we'd love for you to come check out our live stream. Just search at Tom and Dan Live. Also on YouTube, tons of replays of every single day's recording with all of our guests, interviews, comedians, cartoons, shorts, small documentaries, large document. There's all kinds of stuff on there. Just search at Tom and Dan Live.
Also, if you're looking for some spring camps for your kids, the Orlando Science Center has them. The History Center has them. So go to thehistorycenter.org.
And I'm thinking of starting one here. I'm thinking of starting Dan Dennis's
podcast camp.
Yeah, Dan Dennis's podcasting camp for young men.
The kids can come in here and they get to record their own podcast.
Oh, I'll teach them. But it's going to cost the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm a disciplinarian. I'm a whiplash kind of guy. You know what I mean? We're talking movies, right? They call me Whiplash Danny.
Nice.
Hey, I wrote you a theme song, and I want to know if you like it.
Oh, boy.
You ready? Here we go.
Okay.
He watches all the movies, so you don't have to go. It's Movies with our friend Chris Crespo.
All right.
Perfect. What do you think?
Perfect.
What do you think? I'm getting better with it.
That's the best.
See, a lot of people, they just do these AI, whatever the Fs, and I am in full control of AI now. One would say that
AI wizard.
I've become I'm the lawnmower Dan now, and I'm in the machine. I'm in the machine now. But anyway, there you go.
Thank you so much.
But yes, I am. If we want to do the podcasting camp, keep that idea on the board. But I am a bit of a disciplinarian. I'll yell at them. But
does that come with an AI course as well?
I could teach the kids how to, it's funny, I am teaching Maisie how to do it, and she can use that same program.
Yeah.
Yesterday, she wrote a song about our dog Dansby not liking his pads on his feet touched. We call them beans because they look like jelly beans.
All right.
And she wrote a song called "Please Don't Touch My Beans." And then you know where I knew she was my daughter? She wrote "Please Don't Touch My Beans." Also, don't touch my peen. And I go, this girl's got the joke gene, man. I was like, what was that? Please don't touch my peen. And
That's
then
awesome.
Andrea got mad. And then she's like, look what you did. Yeah.
It's not good art if you don't offend at least one person.
Yeah.
So good for her. That's
Exactly. But anyway, glad you're here. Happy Oscars.
awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, guys. Good to see you both.
Well, it was the Oscars last night, and
It's a Oscar hangover day.
so
Yeah.
and that's a why that
That's a why. That's a why we brought in a Fred Christmas.
right when as soon as I did it, I was like, oh, let me get
Here it comes.
You're past
We'll start fresh. Here.
He watches all the movies, so you don't have to go. It's Movies with our friend Chris Crespo.
It's a Chris Christmas.
Yes, it's talking about it.
Nora, how you doing?
It's a movie that's driving me crazy.
All right, so let's get right into it. You already mentioned the
Nora, the big
Yeah.
movie of the night. The one
Isn't
people
that
are going
the
to start watching this
controversy?
week.
Isn't that the anti-Muslim trans person or something?
No, I don't think so. No, that's
What is that one?
That's Amelia Perez,
Okay.
the lead actor for that movie.
Everything is too crazy.
There was a-
now. I can't keep up with
This
it.
was a weird Oscar season where like almost every big movie had some sort of strange controversy around it. Even Anora had a weird thing where Mikey Madison talked about how they didn't have an intimacy coordinator on set and
Yeah.
just did everything themselves. So a lot of people are like, that's not really how we're doing things anymore. It's safer with an intimacy coordinator.
That's what I was going to do before podcasting.
Intimacy coordinator.
What is that?
I was going to be an intimacy.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
I would be on set to make sure that not only the lovemaking scenes that we're filming in the movie look good, but they're also positive and filled with consent. And unless we're trying to portray a rapist monster, in which you wouldn't need me. In which you wouldn't need me.
Actually, I think even then,
I don't know what they do. I
You
made all
need
that
the,
up.
no, that's all correct. You need
Is
the
that correct?
coordinator more. The coordinator's on set to like talk through
Be more
whatever
rapey.
whatever the intimacy scene you're doing is. Like, let's talk about it ahead of time.
Do
We're
that.
going to talk
Rapist.
about everything you're going to do. We're going to make sure everyone is okay with it. Just making sure it's the safest, most, like you said, respectful, consensual environment for filming
Yeah.
things like. Because in the past,
You get to pick out the Merkins.
you got to pick your own Merkin. Usually, you work with the costume design department
How
on
cool
that.
would that be? Is you get to design everyone that's naked in your movie. You get to design their pubic hair.
They're
How
Merkins,
cool is it?
or if they're men, you got to design. Oftentimes,
Yeah.
you see full frontal male nudity in
Yeah.
a movie.
Tom's into that.
It's a fake. It's a fake
Yeah, yeah.
prosthetic piece. Is how they get away with it.
It's usually Aquafairy, like the
Yeah.
ones I purchased online. You can buy them; they're great. Try Aquafairy products are fantastic.
Fair Villa, Tom and Dan
I would
for your
actually
promo
enjoy
code.
this. I would actually enjoy this job. I think I would take it seriously. I'd be a very good intimacy coordinator.
And it's not like it's a new thing. It's just become standard industry standard in the last like 6, 7, 8 years. But people have been doing this on some sets going back for a few decades now.
But
it's just now more widely regarded as like this is what you do when you have a sex scene in a movie.
because bad things have happened, right?
Absolutely, people. Let's be honest. Men go too far. They
Marilyn Manson had that
improvising.
rumor. Remember, Marilyn Manson had that rumor that he filmed he has a music video out there
Mm-hmm.
with a woman that he was dating at the time, and then it's just like he removed his ribs so he could get at it himself. He has all these weird rumors. This rumor was that they were fully engaged like a Firehouse sub during the video.
No, okay, it's
That
like
they were
real.
attached. Yeah,
Wow.
they were
It's real.
Velcroed. Yeah, they were Velcroed.
Stuff like that goes back. I mean, I can think of this movie from the 70s called Don't Look Now. It's a Donald Sutherland movie. I think Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, and they have a sex scene in that movie that people swear to this day that it was that they were just doing it for real. If you watch a scene, it's kind of incredible. If they're faking it, if they are faking it, don't want to really describe it too much as it's for radio, but
Yeah, no, describe it. I'm into it.
Like you can almost, you're like, whoa, that looks way too real.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it could be real.
It could be. Then people are just like,
Yeah.
"Is that real?" And they swore it wasn't. But I mean, I don't know.
Chat room is echoing that we should probably Google that scene later.
No, the don't look up scene.
Yeah,
Don't look
yeah.
now. Don't look now.
Don't look up.
Don't look up. That's a different one. That's a different.
Yeah, there's also I also had heard there is a very graphic, and the rumor had been for years that the sex scene in this film was real, and that was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So I couldn't even do it. Couldn't even do
The
it.
real meatballs.
The real meatballs.
Back to Anora. So I saw it at One Best Picture, and I never even. I don't think we discussed this.
It's
film.
a Russian sex worker marries oligarch's son.
Yeah, well, not a She's American, but can speak a little Russian. She does have like a Russian past. That's why she hooks up with him to begin with. But she's a stripper at a club in New York, hooks up with a Russian guy, a really young Russian guy who's the son of like some Russian gangster, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a Russian mafia.
Yeah, sort of
oligarch,
adjacent. Yeah, exactly.
Rich,
Like that.
Exactly.
Russian mobster.
So they get married pretty early on, and then his family finds out about it back in Russia, and they're like, we got to put a stop to this. So most of the movie is them trying to get them to get annulled. Even a good chunk of it is them just running around trying to find the guy, the Russian kid, because he just runs off and goes hiding. So she's forced to go with his family to go looking for him throughout New York City. It's kind of a long movie, 2.5 hours. A lot happens in it, but I did like it quite a bit. I'm not surprised that it won all the awards that it won, and I'm not mad about it either. It's not my favorite movie of the year.
Do you think Brutalist was better?
I think Brutalist was better. I mean, my favorite movies of the year were Brutalist, Dune Part 2, and The Substance. And Nosferatu are like my favorites of last year that I've seen. I liked Anora a lot. It might make my top 10, but a little lower. But that's just me. I'm just one guy. You know.
Why do you think it won?
I do have an idea about that. I think it's because, especially with Best Picture, they do ranked voting for Best Picture. So instead of just picking the one movie you want to win, they make you rank all the movies 1 through 10. So what typically has been happening for the last 6 or 7 years, the movies that are everyone's number 2 or everyone's number 3 ends up winning, because whatever some people think is number 1, other people are like, that movie is not that good, and they'll put it at like number 10. So it won't get enough points in total, and it ends up getting disqualified. So it goes down to the next most popular movie. So you almost end up with the safer choice. That's how something like a Green Book wins a few years ago.
Gotcha. So the movie with the highest average
Yes.
ends up taking it because the Brutalist and some of the other movies have the difference. Either it's 1 or 5.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
but Anora was like everyone's 1 or 2 or maybe 3. Conclave was another one that people were talking about. Maybe that'll win, because that's everyone's like second favorite, third favorite movie of the year. So I'm not surprised at all that Anora won Best Picture. I'm a little surprised that the writer and director Sean Baker also won director, editing, and writing. So he's the only person to have won 4 awards in one ceremony for the same movie. Walt Disney won 4 awards one night, but that was for like 4 separate Disney projects in like the 50s.
So you're saying, I mean, like,
he was smoking up there.
Yeah, he's smoking so much.
And you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it felt like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it felt like you were saying that although he did win, that maybe there's a little doubt in your mind as to like, whoa, all 4? Like, I don't know if it deserved it.
I just found it surprising. I found it very surprising.
You don't want to take anything away from anybody, but at the same time, that's a...
Exactly. I mean,
that would be considered sort of a historical sweep of some
It
sort?
is historical.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. It's a big deal, and it's cool that it's for an independent film. I like the filmmaker Sean Baker. I like his movies Tangerine, and you guys might remember the Florida Project from like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Those are great movies. I actually like those more than Anora. I still like Anora though, so it is cool to see his trajectory. Like his very first film was shot on iPhones, and now he's picking up awards for this movie. So good for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next, because now he's gonna have a little bit of clout. Someone's going to want to give him a little bit of money to make his next thing. So hopefully he has some crazy dream project now that before he couldn't get made, and now he can, which will be very cool.
Lots of nudity in this film?
Yeah, it's in a strip club with a sex worker. Come on, you kidding me? It's
Are we just talking top,
crazy.
or are we getting some bottoms finally?
I'm gonna have to rewatch it to remember.
I feel like in the 70s and 80s we hit our peak with getting the bottoms, and then somewhere in the 90s we were like, nope, top only.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Well, if you want your movie to make money, it's got to be on as many screens as possible. So the less nudity, the better for that regards. But this movie wasn't necessarily like that. It's really good. I really did like it quite a bit. And again, I'm not surprised that it won what it won. It's interesting that it won so many. But even then, it wins 5 awards total, because he wins those 4. The biggest surprise is Mikey Madison winning lead actress for her role in that movie, because everyone was thinking it was going to be Demi Moore. the type of thing where, she's been around for a while. She's 60 years old. What's the chances of Demi Moore getting another role like this for the rest of her career?
Yeah, it was kind of like her time to win, and because she's probably not going to be in another movie.
She's not going to get another. I don't think she's getting another chance like this. Yeah, it's surprising when this happens.
Has she ever won an Oscar?
No. Not even nominated.
Not even for I guess G.I. Jane wasn't even nominated for
It's one of my favorite movies. I'll tell you what, if I'm on a desert island and somebody says, "What are you bringing, Danny?" I'm like, G.I. Jane #1.
We're like, she shaved her head and she's hot.
And then I'm bringing...
She's doing push-ups.
Remember Chipmunks Rock? I love that album, Chipmunks Rock.
So
That's a good-ass album. It was blue.
What's the name of the actress again?
Mikey Madison.
So Mikey Madison, the second female actress.
Wait a minute, Mikey Madison. That sounds like a baseball player.
It sounds like a New York Yankee.
He's out Mikey Madison to the plate.
Third baseman, Mikey Madison.
Only the second female actress that was born in the 90s to win an Oscar. I saw that.
Yes, the actors are getting younger. Timothée Chalamet, if he had won...
And I keep staying the same.
He would have been the youngest winner at 24 years old, I think, just beating Adrian Brody, who still holds the record for youngest Oscar winner when he won like 20-something years ago for The Pianist.
Timothée Chalamet looks like he eats dirty butt. I'll say it.
Come on.
It's a mustache.
I'll say
it's a little mustache.
He looks like a dirty rat, like a dirty butt rat.
Yeah.
Right? He looks like a butt rat.
A little bit, yeah. He's definitely a rat boy.
Timothée Chalamet.
He's into art.
You look and you wear, and when you look like a butt rat.
Yeah, you turn into a rat when you're into art.
And women love rat men. Yeah, it is the year of year of the snake, but it is the year of rat man. It is the year of the rat man.
Rat men are popular now.
So speaking of Adrian Brody, he did win for Best Actor for The Brutalist.
Yes, the titular Brutalist.
So let's talk about this. When Adrian Brody wins,
another rat man. Oh, a very probably my favorite rat man.
He's the most prominent rat man.
I think he's my favorite.
Yeah,
this guy can act.
He is evolving out of the rat though as he gets older.
Well, you become too big for the rat.
Yeah, your face gets filled out and it becomes less ratty.
You become a little horsey.
So
you become a horse.
The rat to horse pipeline is severe.
It's the best. Yeah.
They announce him as the winner. People are clapping, and he gets up. He starts walking towards the stage. Forgets that he has gum in his mouth.
Yeah.
Then turns around, takes the gum out, and then throws it to his wife.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's kind of funny.
Why not just swallow it, Brody?
I probably would have just put it in my pocket. Like, I'll never wear this tuxedo again.
Yeah. What's she supposed to do? Give it back to him so he can put it back in his mouth later?
Yeah. I wouldn't have swallowed it, and I wouldn't have thrown it at Andrea because that's rude. She'd kill me if I did that.
I'll just stick it on the Oscar, right on the head.
Just swallow it. It's safe. Gum is safe to swallow.
But you could put it in your teeth. I used to do it all the time at Orlando City. You tuck it up on one of your molars, and then you just talk. What are you, not a pro? You're an actor.
Act like you've been there before, Adrian.
Yeah, it's like, are people
Didn't
afraid
he say that?
Yeah.
Wasn't that his thing?
Yeah, he did say that too, yeah.
Which is like, I also don't like it. I do think it's a bad move when you're like, cut the music. I've been here before.
Yeah.
Like, No. Drop the curtain on his head.
Yeah,
you gotta drop the curtain on his head when he does that.
And they
Is
give
the speech too long?
This is why we hate actors. This is why we hate actors. When you get up there, and you better make it quick, because we got to move on. This thing is forever. And then you're like,
so long.
Stop the music. I'm going to do this. Like, drop the curtain pipe right in his head like Bret Michaels and kill him.
And then it's not even like what he said after. He was like, I'm going to keep going. It's not like what he said was so profound and amazing that we all had to hear it.
None of their speeches are profound. Even the ones that include hot-button political topics. I don't care about what any of you guys have to say.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You get 45 seconds. Keep it to that. Thank your lawyer. Thank your manager, your agent. So stupid. And then get out of there.
I like you. I've always liked you since you were peeing your pants in Home Alone. Always liked you. Shut up.
Been around for a while.
Let's talk about Culkin. So he won for
supporting actor.
Best supporting actor. Yeah. And me and Dana were talking about it this morning. We're like, it's pretty interesting that Macaulay Culkin's brother, ended up reaching this height of fame.
He's the actor of the fam.
Yeah, he is now.
He's the guy.
Yeah, in the 90s when he was a kid, Macaulay was like one of the biggest stars of the world, which is crazy because Home Alone was such a big movie. But now he like fully stepped away and just like lived on his Home Alone money for the rest of his life doing nothing. Kieran is the one that ends up having a full working career and like building up to winning an Emmy in Succession, and now winning the Oscar for A Real Pain in the same year.
So Adrian Brody's wife is Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife?
That I did not know. Is it?
Somebody said that in the chat room.
Oh wow, that poor lady.
Yeah.
That can't be true. You're not. That's not true.
I mean, who
What-
knows?
what
Then you gotta
what a
drop the-
redemption for her.
That's a more of a reason to drop the curtain pipe on his head.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
It's not his fault.
You got Weinstein run off.
Yeah, but how do you go to that after that, right?
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going to marry Andrea after she's like, I was like, who was your ex? Husband?
Alex
she's Like,
Jones.
she's like, Jabba the Hutt. I'm like, get the hell out of here, you gross piece of ass.
So,
Right? If Crystal had dated and been married to Jabba the Hutt, I'm putting it back on movies.
Do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't marry her, or maybe you're the guy. You're the
You're
one
the
guy.
one. You're the Adrian
one
Brody.
guy can
Yeah.
turn his feet. I have no emotions. Jabba's just another weird thing.
well, I would find it odd. I mean, did you turn the other way? Did you know what was happening? Like, it all depends. Like, maybe she had no idea that Jabba was doing,
Jabba thinks.
all the things. The
Jabba things, yeah.
I mean, and the rumors. I mean, I would have gotten curious to like you had to have started becoming, like.
They gotta wonder why are all the plants in the house dying?
The chat room does say she divorced him and left the country for a while with their kids. Not good enough. Not good enough.
Not good enough. We have to
sorry.
plan it at that point.
Yeah.
So
Are you kidding me?
what?
It's his kids. Oh, gross.
So this is what I think about. Like, would Kieran Culkin reach this success if his brother didn't do what he did? If he was like him by himself?
Because he'd probably never been in Home Alone. Never started the.
Because
May
his
not even
name-
started acting. Yeah.
Because, as you know, like becoming a successful actor, it's a lot like poker, where it's skill and luck.
Sure.
Like a lot of times, people take roles that they have no idea what they're going to be, and then all of a sudden they end up being and it's their launching point. You know,
Sure, yeah.
because you don't know what the movie's going to do when you first accept the part.
Mm-hmm.
So his name gets him in there. Obviously, you having the Culkin last name, but also maybe looking at his brother and the wanting to like surpass his fame or wanting to accomplish what he's you know what I'm saying? Did that give him motivation? And with his name, now he reaches it, or could he have done it by himself?
Nate Bargatze said it on our show. I was just listening to that
Okay.
interview. You have to see somebody succeed. If you don't,
You don't even know if it's
you
possible.
almost get in a weird. Yeah, you don't. It's almost not real. You have to see somebody succeed. Chat room is disagreeing. They're saying maybe he would have because the father of the Culkin family made them all act. But in my scenario, I guess I was thinking none of them act. Sorry,
Yeah,
I should have probably clarified. I'm thinking if nobody acted, then no, it doesn't happen.
Sure.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is because of his brother's success.
Because Macaulay,
I think it played into it.
Macaulay blew up first,
Yeah.
and that opens doors for other Culkins. Kieran works. Isn't another one Corey? Isn't there another Culkin? There's a third Culkin that was like had a little career in the late '90s, early 2000s as he became a teenager. But it's interesting that Kieran is the one that ends up breaking through so
Patel,
artistically.
it was Patel Culkin.
Patel, yeah, Patel
I think it was
Culkin.
Patel
Yeah, it was
Culkin.
Patel.
He gets
Yeah.
forgot about a lot.
Yeah, people. It's sad.
Another
Poor
one that
guy.
I think is interesting because it kind of plays into what you're trying to figure out, this luck aspect of it. Like the bluegrass player, Grammy Award winning, nobody better, Billy Strings. He's awesome,
Okay.
right? His dad didn't play bluegrass, but his stepdad did. His stepdad introduced him to bluegrass at like 13.
Okay.
So no stepdad with bluegrass, then you don't find it, then you don't become the best in
He
the
doesn't
world.
become Billy Strings.
Right. Like if you stay with regular dad,
Yeah.
then you just stay Billy.
Sure,
There
sure.
are no strings.
Yeah, so maybe Dad would have
Yeah.
pushed Kieran to act and to strive. Maybe he didn't need an older brother to quote beat in those regards. But I think Macaulay, like I said, one of the biggest movie stars in the world in the 90s, just off of a couple of movies, that had enough juice to get Kieran going for a while. Anyone with a Culkin last name, doors were going to be open for you, at least to try to do your best versus like, hey, get out of here. We don't even want to see you, kid.
Before we take a break, let's talk about the best animated picture, Flow.
Yes.
So this
That's about a period, right?
this was the first.
No, Turning Red was about a period.
Yeah, Turning Red literally
I was being serious.
Turning Red
there.
was about
Yeah.
a period.
Tom
yeah.
looked at me like I'm on Animal Man, and I'm like, no, I'm being movies. I'm
You're
doing
thinking of a different movie.
Yeah, but that shot, but Andrea
A different
turned it on.
Oscar-nominated film.
Andrea
Yeah.
leaned over to me. She's like, "This cartoon's about Maisie getting her period." I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, well, it's about like me putting on porn in front of her or something. What are you doing?
So this is the first independent animated movie to win.
I think so, yeah, because going back to when this category started, which was like 2001, 2002, it's always been DreamWorks. Well, actually, DreamWorks is only one for Shrek. Pixar, Disney, Illumination, like these big corporations have won. So this is a fully like independent from Latvia animated film, which is wild.
So I was like, I've never. Maybe the boys will like watching this. I've never heard of Flow. I clicked on the trailer and watched it, and it is weird because the trailer.
Do they outsource their animation to us?
That'd be interesting. No,
Right?
maybe they sent it to a neighboring Eastern European country.
The trailer was just a wet cat climbing a mountain and then dances with a space bird.
Yeah, all right.
And,
That's my kind of film.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, that sounds. Is that an A24?
And then I was like, what the hell is happening? No dialogue.
What do the
nothing.
boys think?
Well, I watched it in here the first time, like this morning.
Oh, this morning.
Oh, you were like, I'll put this on for them later.
No,
And then, like,
I thought I'm like, well, the sons are not going to be interested in this. So
You
what the hell
also
is
you
it?
also hate anything with a bird, apparently. So.
Yeah, he's anti-bird. Well, I mean, can you
have
blame
you watched
him?
it?
He's had to tend for birds for 40 years.
Is
I,
it
I,
good?
I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I mean, it's I've known about it for a couple months now. It's very well reviewed. Obviously, it won the Academy Award here, kind of a big deal for this movie. I know it's dialogue free. I think it's about a cat and other animals surviving a flooding pretty much. So it's kind of like a adventure type movie. And
so there's no dialogue. It's all music and animation.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you can pull that off, I think that's great when you can make a movie or tell any story without people talking, or in this case, without even having people. I think that's very cool. So it sounds like it's worth checking out. I don't know if it's going to keep the attention of children. It might be an animated film appreciated more by adults.
My daughter needs a digital jackpot to be going off in her eyes every 5 seconds. Digital jackpot.
Yeah, if it's even a little contemplative, they may check out quickly.
I just feel like this was in the wrong category because the films it was up against, like Inside Out 2 and the standard, like Pixar.
Yeah, but those
Disney.
are for families, maybe? Was this for...
I think the animators might consider it for families, absolutely.
Yeah, but
it's not like there's any adult themes.
I think European people are tougher, and Americans, fat Americans, they need we need some
Europeans are
we
tougher.
need some.
I need The Rock. I need The Rock.
Telling me I'm welcome. I need to be welcome.
I need Jack Black, doing some sort of comedy, and I need some sort of billion-dollar corporation giving it to me.
Yeah,
is there a
telling
moral?
you are going to be okay.
Is there a lesson to this? Oh, you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I imagine there would be. It's probably about resilience and that type of thing.
Yeah.
God, resilience.
That's a lot. I give up on resilience.
Again, the Europeans are tougher. Like,
They are.
This is
They
what
are
we have to
tougher.
cling on to.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some other categories. And I will say that
Best dressed.
I looked.
Some say Whoopi Goldberg.
Coleman Domingo looked incredible.
It was the 97th Oscars, and I started thinking, I was like, man, they're probably going to make a huge deal out of the 100. Right?
I don't think it'll make it.
I don't think it'll make it. They're already planning the 100.
I hope they stop the 99th. They're like, nobody's watching.
You know what? No one cares.
Yeah.
We're going to stop this.
But they also they're looking back at past Oscar ratings, and they're like, God, the slap and the time. What's his name screwed it up at the end? Like
they gave him the wrong envelope. Warren Beatty.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I looked up TikTok to find out, did anything crazy happen? And the Adrian Brody throwing his gum was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, they need something. They need some more drama.
Conan had a couple zingers. I liked his pedophile joke. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was funny. That was something. He had a couple jokes. I was like, holy cow.
Hey, we're at the midway part of the show, which means Kendrick Lamar is going to come out here and call Drake a pedophile. and then he was like, don't worry, I lawyered up.
Yeah, so funny.
It was really funny.
I thought he did a very good job as host.
I don't know if he could do wrong in my eyes. I'm
a huge Conan fan.
I also supported him when he got the Shaft and everything.
Yeah,
I went to that theater tour he did. I got to see him in Atlanta at the Fox Theater, and it was just so cool.
That's cool
to support that and be around. That. Yeah, he's great.
It seems I know it's a big deal to host the Oscars, but it seems like Conan O'Brien would be over it already. He he's on the other side of the screen. He's like, this is too much of a pain in the ass. Because I imagine it is.
All the work that goes into it, yeah.
And then, like, you're around all these Hollywood people, which is like,
maybe he's doing it as a favor. I always think about that sometimes. I always think about it like not that, like, I'm not talking about some sort of weird sexual favor, Pizzagate, that level. I'm talking about, like, maybe it's just like how you and I do business where, we try to do special stuff for our clients and we love, like, let's say, like Mo. If Mo asks us to do something because nobody else is going to do it or host something, we'd probably go, we'll do it for you, man, because we care about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if,
maybe
like,
whoever produced your show knows Conan and, like, just casually over lunch.
In the dumper, you know, and they're like, would you do it?
Yeah,
we need a good dude.
Because Conan, I will say, was like,
it's better.
It's probably, I guess Jimmy Kimmel though is good too.
He was fine.
He's good.
Kimmel was fine.
I liked having Conan. I thought it was like more comedy forward. No offense to Jimmy Kimmel, but when he's there, I always think he's going to fight with somebody about politics. Seriously, I'm like, oh God,
he's
here
got
we
a
go.
sour face.
You think they'll bring Chris Rock back for the 100th? Make a slap joke, and like people will go crazy.
I don't think they like that slap thing at all.
Yeah.
I think that's a mar. I think we laugh about it, but I think to those weirdos, I think they're like, how could you do this?
Yeah, the integrity of the institution.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Chris Crespo is still here, but right now we're going to do That Time of the Month with Bob Zaney. Bob Zaney's on Zoom. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great, and I love the sound effect. I think that brought it all home. As you can see, I haven't really worked on my backdrop yet, but the universe is out there.
Bob, did you watch the Oscars last night?
I was on a plane. I was coming back from Detroit to Vegas, and so my wife watched it, and she was,
Yeah, it was okay.
It's just not the same. It's not the same when we were younger, and you guys don't even know what it was like in the 70s when we actually cared about the celebrities.
Yeah. They did matter. We don't care about them now.
All these celebrities at the Oscars, you're like, you're not Mr. Beast. Like, I see so many. What the hell's a celebrity nowadays? That's
true. You could actually say I am one, and that will probably give you guys a little more street cred, but hey.
So, what do we got, Bob?
Yep.
Well, we got a lot going on in the news, and I always like that. It's the Zaney Report during that time of the month with Dan and Tom.
Yes.
First up, you guys, New York. A roller derby league has lost its bid to ban transgender female skaters. The judge said, when roller derby is no longer fake, I will allow the ban. Good news. Bad news. I know this is going to probably hit home here. The bad news, while performing in Brazil, singer Patti Smith had to end her show early after collapsing on stage. The good news is she's okay and was able to sing her 3 hit songs.
Patti Smith, 3 hit songs. Only three of them. Only 3 of them.
This is interesting. In Nebraska, you guys go to Nebraska a lot from Florida, right? It's a straight shot. Don't they have it like a nonstop?
Yeah, we have a bright line.
Yeah. Well, in Nebraska, the Rock Creek Station Historical Park has started showing the everyday life of what it was like in the Nebraska Territory. Dan, that's what they called it back then. It was a territory before a state.
Sure.
And in 1864. So they're recreating what it was like life in 1864. Now, so far, the most unpopular attraction, the Poop in the Bucket Challenge.
Hold on. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Why do I get the feeling that Tom actually has done that? I brought back a bad memory.
We do have a friend that has done that. We have a radio stunt man friend of ours that did that. You ever been on Bubba the Love Sponge? He did it for Bubba the Love Sponge. True story.
I don't know. I don't think I've done Bubba. I know of Bubba, so that's exciting. Well, I actually years ago, and it's somewhere out there on the interweb, I did the very excitingly the ice bucket challenge with Vanilla Ice CDs, and I filled the bucket with filling ice, and I went ice, baby.
I like that. That's his catchphrase. He did the baby.
Wait, during the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge?
Well, you guys, I was on the Jerry Lewis Telethon for 17 years, and I helped raise money for helping people with stuff like that. So, I'm not making fun of it. I'm just having fun with it.
Sure.
All right.
Well, you did that. Yeah, you did that for a very, very long time, right? And you were doing it out in Nevada, right?
We did it in Los Angeles
Los
at
Angeles.
CBS Television City, and then we moved to Las Vegas to the South Point. I co-hosted with people like Tom Bergeron, Casey Kasem, Ed McMahon. Every year, Ed was there for me, and I got a chance to be Johnny Carson because during my set, he would stand there, and if a joke didn't work, which happened a lot on the telethon, he would go, "And what was that, Bob?"
Those old school guys, they're rougher around the edges, right? They grew up at a different time.
They did, but Ed wasn't. He was actually a very, very funny man, and I would do a sketch within my stand-up set before we started doing the co-hosting, and he would help out. So he was a great foil and funny, just funny, So
let's
get right to it. Go ahead.
Oh no, well, with the Jerry Lewis telethon, Jerry Lewis is alive?
No longer with us, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, okay.
I think I'm the only last living member from the telethon, so this is exciting.
All right. Keep going, Bob.
Jerry was a great guy. The reason I got to do the telethon for 17 years is because he was a huge fan of my work, but also because I kept my distance.
I like that one.
I never asked much of Jerry. I just gave back. And you can learn something from that, Dan, the way you just sit there and act like you're in control.
Anything else?
Let's get right to it. We're going to go back in time.
Oh, I love this. It's my favorite one.
Zany Report joke. And this is exciting, Danny. Tom, this is actually going to take place in your home city.
Oh, I love this.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. It worked. Let me put on those Dollar Tree readers. This is from December 3rd, 2019. Good news, bad news. Here's the bad news. Orlando, Florida.
Ooh.
A grandmother is outraged because her 6-year-old granddaughter was handcuffed and fingerprinted because she had a tantrum at school. The good news, she was finally released. The 6-year-old was finally released because she had no priors.
Chris is laughing at that. Chris is laughing at that. I got to put him on camera. Chris is laughing at that.
And who is that? I'm sorry, I haven't met that gentleman. Is that the producer?
That's Chris Crespo. He's a movie. He's a movie man that we have on our show to talk movies. That's Chris Crespo.
Hey, Chris. I've been in a few movies myself, Chris. Did you see The Informant with Matt Damon? I play his attorney in all the scenes.
I did see The Informant. Yeah, that's a good movie.
And I also was in Joe Dirt. I played man number 1, but everybody who saw the performance thought I was number 2. I starred in a movie with Linda Blair and Murray Langston, a.k.a. The Unknown Comic. He wasn't the Unknown Comic in the film called Up Your Alley. Murray and I played homeless guys, and she played a reporter investigating us, which was kind of cool because who knew that was going to be our future?
When are you coming to Porky's, Bob?
I'm coming to Porky's in November, so mark the calendar. As we get closer, we'll get the specific
We're gonna do a
date.
meetup.
You know how Eric is down there at Porky's. He holds them tight to his sleeve. Then he walks around going, "This is good barbecue."
Yeah. We're gonna have a meetup. We're gonna have because the listeners love you, and we're gonna have a meetup for one of Bob's shows. And we're gonna.
I think it should be the Tom and Dan show presents Bob Zaney in concert, and you guys host. Come out.
I would love that. But we're very very busy men.
We're a horrible host. Yeah, real bad.
Okay, can I just say so? Yeah, I know you're very busy, and God forbid you commit to November.
I'm getting a new hip next week.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, the guy might be older than you.
I got one in August.
Did you really? How do you feel about your new hip, Bob?
It's amazing. Where's your pain at? What would you give it from the 1 to 10 scale?
Oh, it's an 11 all day. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's just the worst. It's the worst. But I still did 10,000 steps a day during the pain, and I think that really helped in the recovery. I recover really fast.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. They say it's easy, and I will recover fast. And not to end on a positive note, but it's good to know that, man.
Let's talk about more surgeries coming up on the Tom and Dan show.
Yeah, we'll do it. Tom's going to
Tom, are you going to have a testicle reduction or anything like that you should know about?
Yeah.
No,
he doesn't have the long balls, long toilet balls.
I thought you're just okay. I'm not going to say it. You guys are the best until next month because it's that time of the month with Bob Zaney and the Zaney Report. Baby.
See you, Bob. Later, man.
Bye, Bob.
Bye. There he goes. Okay, he's out. All right. What do you think of that one, Tom? What do you think? That's our third edition. I promised you I would bring you the greatest, and I think I'm delivering. I think I'm delivering on all accounts.
Over-delivering, maybe?
Yeah, right? What has this guy done?
Exactly.
Every setup is like excruciating.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a perfect word
because
for it.
like, oh my God, the punchline's gonna come, and I'm gonna have to do something.
It's like you're watching a train come slowly. I can't get out of the way.
And then it's like, it's coming.
I also like that he already got his hip replacement, and I'm getting mine. I'm just becoming Bob Zaney. I'm just becoming it.
Yeah.
So
You'll start booking Zoom calls around the country.
Yeah.
now, I
love you, Bob. Thanks, buddy.
You say the listeners love it.
It's the Bob they wanted us to kill. We just killed Bob Saget instead.
I don't.
Wrong Bob.
Yeah, we got the wrong Bob.
Yeah.
It's anyway. Sorry.
They'll write me this afternoon. They will write me. They tell Tom Bob Zaney's funnier than he is. Tom's not fun anymore. Tom doesn't like fun.
Yeah, but is that fun for the listeners?
I never said it was fun. I just said it was new. Your new thing is new. I'm just giving people new things.
Is that new?
It's not new. It's an old joke.
It was 2009.
He did a joke from '96.
When he's doing a joke,
Last time he did a joke from Monica Lewinsky.
but he's doing an Ice Ice Baby joke in 2017. It was a 1998 joke.
And then,
in
we talked,
2017.
and then we talked about the Jerry Lewis telethon and Ed McMahon and Jerry Lewis, who are both dead.
Dead. So dead. Old
And
and
you
dead.
were plugging an event 8 months ago.
Yeah, this is the beauty of my plan. And Porky's
this
Comedy
the plan?
Club. Porky's Comedy Club not paying us.
Oh, wow.
I think I'm the real businessman.
So, Chris, let's get back to the Oscars.
All right.
So, anything else happened that was? Some people say like, oh, this is some controversy because this movie won and this movie got snubbed.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like you said, it's all a vote and aggregate.
For the best picture, it's a weird ranking system that they've changed in the last 8-9 years. So the best picture one has been weird now for a while, but it's, it is what it is. And, really, it's a test of time type of thing. Will people still remember these movies in 10 years, or will the movies that are remembered, like, not even nominated? It's, culture is weird like that. I rewatched Driving Miss Daisy recently, the Best Picture winner from 1989, and that movie stinks. And there's a reason why no one talks about it anymore or wants to remember it outside of it being like a bad choice for a Best Picture winner. Meanwhile, from the same year...
That's the whole theme of Maisie's bedroom.
Driving Miss Daisy.
I thought it was weird, but it's what she wanted. And I was like, why do you always dress like an old black man? I said that to Maisie.
What, a mural of Jessica Tandy on the
I
wall
thought
there?
she wanted to be Jessica Tandy. Nope, she wanted to be the black guy.
So I gotta go make water, ma'am.
And now,
Oh, my goodness.
I said, what do you want to do with your room now? Because it's like Driving Miss Daisy. She's like, I think I want to do Bagger Vance. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm
Just
like,
10 years later, same idea.
You can reuse the hat.
Yeah. Meanwhile, from the same year, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, famously not nominated for anything, especially Best Picture. That movie is more relevant today than ever. If you watch that movie now, it feels like it was made last week, outside of like the time period setting of '89, and it's like taught in schools and stuff, in film schools. So. I'm not trying to slag Anora necessarily or anything. I'm just wondering, in 10 years, will people still remember Anora, or will something like The Substance or The Brutalist, or will people forget about The Brutalist completely? That's possible too. It has its moment now. People like it, then they forget about it and move on and wait for the next Transformers or Marvel or whatever.
I would like to thank The Brutalist for bringing brutal style, like that style.
Brutalism?
Yeah, brutalism to the forefront, because now I see it everywhere and I realize that I am attracted to it.
It's interesting, right?
It is a form of architecture that
and when you realize what it is,
dig it.
it's kind of like, wow, this really is like everywhere. And it's funny because it is
we have some stuff in Orlando.
Yeah, I mentioned it a few episodes ago. The library downtown is a great example.
Yeah, I got to say that to my daughter, and I looked like I was a genius. I stole that from you.
There you go. Yeah, it's like, and it's such a Soviet. It's related so hard to the Soviet Union. It's a Soviet style of architecture.
I love reading in a Soviet prison.
The Gulag.
It's your favorite, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go to the Gulag for my children's
books. I wonder why so much of, like, okay, so that would be 2. I mean, I'm sure this is just a coincidence, but 2 of our movies are like. Was Brutalist set in? Where was that set in?
It was set in Oklahoma, somewhere in America, in rural America, because the movie starts with him arriving in America on to Ellis Island on the boat. Yeah, post World War II.
Is that a very long movie? Maybe I'll check that one out.
It is long, but it has an intermission, so it's really like 2 hour 45-minute movies combined.
Can you blow through it?
If you want to, I mean,
I combine it and watch it.
Like simultaneously have on one screen, one on the other screen, just play them at the same time.
I mean, like, do people watch movies a little faster, or is that considered bad?
I've heard of people doing that. I think it's a crazy thing to do, but I've heard of it though. Like 1.75
extreme pacing.
It just messes up the.
It's weird
the audio
to watch art. Sped up, like as if you're trying to just be. I understand people do that with sports podcasts.
You chop and screw your rap music all the time. Every time I'm writing,
that's because he wants to listen to it longer.
Every time I'm writing in your Chevy Celebrity, you've got something chopped and screwed.
It's all a bunch of chopped and screwed Tame Impala and stuff in here.
So Wicked 2,
Wicked Part 1,
Wicked 1 or whatever. I was thinking of Wizard of Oz 2, even though it's not. That's not what it's called.
No, it's not. It's not called that. It's certainly not called. No,
Wiz 2.
But that won some costume design, but that was it, right?
Yeah, it won costuming,
and music.
Not score. I think Brutalist won score. I think it just won costuming.
How about most annoying and skinniest arms? Ariana Grande,
maybe.
She performed at the Oscars. I saw that.
They did the opening. Her and Cynthia Erivo, a great opening, great. Actually. Yeah, they're so ridiculously talented, especially Cynthia. And then did you see her? She has these long nails, like her. She had these long, awesome, decorative nails on.
Yes.
And then one of them, the pointer finger, had like a little gold chain dangling off the end of it. So she's like
a little dangler.
Yeah, a little dangler, and she's holding the mic, and you see this little thing dangling on her finger. It was so
danglers are back. I saw a guy at Trader Joe's, like an older, like dad. Like a guy that looks like Tom, like not older dad, but it's just a dad, dressed like you, dangler. The only thing he had...
What, a dangle earring?
The only thing he had of any... the only unique thing about him was he had a dangler, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Was it a little pirate sword, maybe, or something like that?
I couldn't make out what was on the end of it, but it was at least half an inch. It wiggled.
Wow!
It had some movement to it.
Okay, when you are dressed, because I saw her dress also, and it was, I mean, like over the top, huge shoulder pad, like a gigantic costume, the only way I could describe it, like abnormal than a normal dress, I guess, but like over the top. And then you have the long nails and a dangler. Like, how do you use the restroom?
You don't.
Carefully.
You don't.
Do you take some medication that way you don't? Because
maybe you don't take medication, but you certainly don't drink or eat much.
Okay, you have to not drink or eat much because just go like.
Didn't they say that about Kim Kardashian when they stitched her in that Marilyn Monroe dress or something? And
she had to like starve herself for a day or something.
Starve herself. No, I want to say like for a week she starved herself. I think she was like, they're like lucky she walked.
To drop the LBs to fit.
Yeah, because you can't go to the bathroom just like, I gotta go tinkle. Like, it would be a process.
Why would you say that? What's wrong with you?
Well, because...
Why would you ever say that on this show?
Because with the elaborate
You're
dress...
embarrassing me in front of Chris.
And the stockings, and then the nails, and the danglers.
Well, you cut a hole, like Fairvilla underpants.
No, well, I don't know. There has to be some sort of, like, a plan.
I don't think you wear underwear.
Maybe she's diped up.
No, you have to.
Chat room said diapers.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, why not?
Because if that came out, then it would be embarrassing, right?
Why? It wouldn't come out. It's not going to come out. That's the point of the diapers, that it stays in.
They don't come out of the leg holes. Haven't you seen it? They bunch the legs so it doesn't come out.
Yeah. No, the diapers are, they're very thin now, adult diapers.
You know nothing about diapers, man. You're sitting here trying to tell us about diapers. Me and Chris know about diapers.
Well, I know about adult diapers.
You don't know nothing about diapers. Me and Chris are the diaper boys.
Because
shut your hole.
We're the die boys.
Yeah,
do they even serve drinks at the Oscars?
I don't know.
Like,
is there a bar there?
Like, because
why are you not going to go now?
Well, no, I'm just.
It sucks.
Actually, you know what? I know at one point they do things like this every year. They passed out bottles of tequila and had them pass them down the row so people could take drinks from the bottle. I think doesn't seem sanitary.
That's COVID.
No, it's COVID. They also give out snack boxes. At each seat has a little box of snacks.
Here's some PDQ.
Yeah,
like a greasy fingers.
PDQ, no, more like a box. What was it, a box of sweet tarts, some chips, I think, a donut, and a bottle of water. Smart water too, I think. Ugh.
Do they still give out elaborate gift bags and stuff? Is that still because I remember
the gifting suite? Yeah, I think that's still a thing.
Or did they,
people really don't talk about
well,
it anymore,
take
though.
heat. They take heat, and then people go like, "We're not going to do that," and then they don't do it for like a year or so, and then they gradually bring it back because it's all sponsored.
But then no one talks about it. Yeah,
right.
But
yeah,
I remember,
exactly.
like back in the radio days, like it being a topic of like what was in the gift bag.
Yeah.
Now
I can look.
It seems irrelevant because what are you going to give?
Because I think what happened.
You're going to give Kevin Costner a new iPhone.
Exactly.
You don't want that.
You're giving these a lot of these are like
cares?
rich people, well-off people have all this
Don't
stuff.
care.
You got to think about there are also like think of the
It's for nominees typically.
the people who did the short film documentary nominees. Those people getting gift bags are getting a lot of stuff they wouldn't have access to or couldn't afford.
All right,
so
you ready?
There are a decent amount who can get cool stuff.
It's like stuff we give out. It's like a Tom Van gift bag. To tell you the
some
truth.
Tom and Dan t-shirts.
You get a couple of pre-rolls and a THC infused drink.
Okay.
You get now you don't put this in any of your gift bags. You get a 4-night stay at a resort in the Maldives that's worth $23,000.
Okay,
well, that's pretty good.
You get a 5,200 stay at a Barcelona hotel, as well as an ancestry DNA test, up to $25,000 VIP family history experience, where they'll trace your entire genealogy.
Holy cow.
The gift bag also includes a $240 John Booz cutting board, skincare products from Swiss brand Institutum, a luxury pocket square from Daniel Ashley Company. This pocket square is a $1,500 pocket square, a tiny piece of silk, $1,500.
So eggs out there cost $6 for half a dozen, but then they're going to put out articles like this about these expensive pocket squares. People don't want to hear about that anymore. So I feel like this.
We should have stormed that place and kill all those rat men and steal their pocket squares.
we should.
I'll stomp a rat man flat and steal his pocket square.
Listen,
little Shyamalan.
The French had it right.
Little Shyamalan. I think even with my bad hip, I think I could push Timothy Chalamet over. How tall is he?
Maybe 5'8", 5'9".
I think I could push him over. I think I could tackle him.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty tough.
He's not tough. He's not enduring the amount of pain I'm enduring. I'll gouge his eyes out and steal his pocket square.
There you go.
He made some speech at some other awards that got some sort of like people saying like, "Oh, this is pretentious." He was just talking about he wants to be.
He wants to be known as the greatest, one of the greats, or something like that.
Well, you won't be saying that.
What,
No, you won't.
When you get your hands on them?
The true greats are the ones that never say that.
They don't say that. Yeah, Gene Hackman didn't say, "I want to be one of the greats."
Correct.
He just did good work, and when he died, everyone was like, "This guy's great."
Just do your work. Shut up.
But he's young, and then he's got aspirations to be one of the greats.
He's just young. That's all.
There are young,
like that.
but you can still have aspirations and not say things that make people
and not come across as pretentious. He's a New York City theater F-boy.
Don't defend him. Don't defend him.
I'm telling you.
He wants to be like Brady and Tom.
He's a butt rat. He's a dirty butt rat.
He is.
Don't defend him.
It's not a defense. It's an accurate description of what he is.
Yeah, he's gross. What else? Christine put a few more things in here.
Well, I was going to say one of Conan O'Brien's joke I did see on TikTok is that he was talking about the Timothy Chalamet movie,
A Complete Unknown,
and he was like, he's like, Bob Dylan wanted to be here tonight, but not that much. And I was like, that's a funny joke because like a movie about him is being nominated for an award, didn't show up.
Yeah,
you
didn't
don't
even
care
show
less.
up. Yeah,
but that's good because that's Bob Dylan, right?
It's very Bob Dylan.
Very much Bob Dylan.
If he showed up, it would almost be like, "What is this?" You expect him to not show up.
In fact, they've been saying like he shared something on. He shared a
tweet, I think.
A tweet from Machine Gun Kelly or MGK. Bob Dylan did.
He's on Twitter?
Yeah, or he's on Instagram, and he shared like a reel of
on social media.
MGK. He probably butt dialed it. He didn't mean to do it, I don't believe. But people were like, "Oh my god," because he never does anything.
Yeah, that was an accident.
100% he hates Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no possible way that he watched Machine Gun Kelly and was like, "This guy's got it."
I like his style. Yeah, no way.
Basement mixing up the medicine.
That movie went 0 for 8, by the way. It lost every category that it was nominated for.
You want to know why?
Bob Dylan.
Chalamet. His attitude.
People are like, nope, we're not giving it to you,
Yeah,
buddy.
we don't like your attitude, Chalamet.
Yeah.
Well, let's plug the podcast, Cinema Crespediso. It's a Cinema Crespediso podcast, and you can find it anywhere podcasts are heard.
Yep.
Also, Who's the Baddie podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, my episode came out last week
Yep.
about
It's awesome.
Shawshank Redemption. And anything else you want to hit?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, the C Lane episode of Who's the Baddie comes out this Wednesday.
I saw him over the weekend.
He's a very nice guy.
Love that man.
He chose Con Air, I believe.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
So a lot of Nick Cage impressions in that episode. And then you can go to patreon.com/Crespediso for the newest episodes we're putting out. Our next 2 episodes come out these next 2 Fridays. The Godfather and Godfather Part 2. So technically
Which do you
some
like better
big
personally?
movies. Part 2, I think.
Okay.
I've seen the first one more.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
the second one is just a bigger, crazier movie.
Yeah.
So I got to respect it.
There's a scene in Con Air where Steve Buscemi is about to molest a little girl. A different time.
might be the baddie.
Screensaver on my phone.
Playing with a doll. Anyway,
Might be the baddie. We'll see.
all right, we will be right back.
Thanks.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. With us in studio, our friend that likes to present to us
Yeah.
random
King of snacks.
snacks.
He's the king of snacks.
Food from
well researched.
Yeah. And in
Means I
fact,
eat a lot of stuff.
you get in my mind now. In fact, my wife, Andrea, told me to tell you that whenever we shop, we have 2 products in our cabinet right now we haven't opened that I was supposed to bring today that I'm realizing I forgot. One of them was a apple cider vinegar potato chip. Delicious by Kettle. Fantastic. And the other you did bring, so we do have that. Ladies and gentlemen, king of snacks. And
I'll have to buy that URL.
You're our snack
King of
man.
snacks.
It is our friend John Graham.
Howdy.
Someone call him the Elon Musk of snacks.
Yeah, they do say that. They do say that.
Please don't do
Yeah,
that.
he is 100%. They call him that.
For a second, I thought about trying a South African accent.
All right.
He will salute.
Yeah, he will. He salutes all
Sorry,
state. Let's
John.
play his theme song. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for another edition of What's in My Mouth.
What's in my mouth? What's in my mouth? What's in my mouth? In my mouth?
It's not a penis.
All right, we can't play that.
It's not a penis.
This is the way you get all the corporate sponsors.
What'd you think?
John got legitimately excited at the beginning, and then we ruined it. And we ruined it.
I knew something was
Yeah,
That was the goal.
See,
I know what you appreciate. I think that you and I run in some of the same circles with music and the things that we appreciate. And I wanted to take you down a road, and then we'd get down there, and then I wanted to just swing you out of the cart.
And you did mention corporate sponsors, which I would.
I don't really have any. but,
And no, I would want. I mean, if we got some of that Oreo money.
Oh, my
I mean,
God.
they
Big Post.
Yeah, if they're paying Post Malone,
Oh, my God. He
he
can't even read.
Yeah, it's a weird.
He can't even read. Jelly Roll's got an endorsement with Under Armour. How did that happen? How did Jelly Roll get an endorsement with Under Armour?
It's overarm.
remember, like when I was in high school, Under Armour was a terrible brand.
It was.
Yeah,
It was like
Yeah.
Kmart brand.
Yeah.
And now it's like hugely popular.
Look at
It's
him
kinda
now.
funny, yeah.
Hold
Look at
on.
him now. It's because they signed one big sports star. I think one of the first stars to ever sign with Under Armour and made the brand. I want to say, I could be wrong on this, but I want to say they signed, and this is a weird one, but it worked. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think they
Okay.
signed him, and he was doing some of that like it was almost like a hybrid sportswear and Big Dog.
Do you think it's because they're like, all right, we already have the athletes, but we need the fatzos that their skin rubs together, and they need to stop the chafing? So Under Armour stopped the chafing. Is this something like
Stop
that?
the shaving. I agree.
Because that's the only
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
that
That's
Jelly Roll would need Under
I
Armour.
think you nailed it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that's
Yeah.
why they use him as an endorsement.
Hold the rolls.
Because it'll turn your skin gray.
Slow your roll.
Oh yeah.
Slow your roll. Under Armour Jelly Roll.
Quick, trademark it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, John. Before we started this segment, you and Daniel started talking and getting very excited.
You were screaming. I was screaming.
About old school radio and how they used to run their commercials.
Yeah.
And then when you told me how it used to work, because when I started radio, even though it was in 2003, like it already had profit, and it was just, although they still had like mini discs, and we still play our best stuff that way, which I did look around and said, this is insane.
Well, the mini disc was nothing more than a way to record shows. So like when we used mini disc, it was the easiest and best like format for sticking in a blank mini disc and then just hitting record for 90 minutes. You knew that you could get the entire show.
Yeah.
And it would be like CD quality.
And I guess they didn't have...
Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Right.
Back in 04, they didn't have the storage capacity, I guess, to do it all digital, like it hadn't gotten there.
We didn't have hard drives. Like we didn't have... Well, they were around, but they were like sophisticated machinery, Like you didn't just carry... Like now people carry around like 100 gigs in a flash drive in their
hold
pocket.
a terabyte in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
So you were telling me that they used to run commercials by real time. The person would type in what was it called?
Well, we called it the IR, the instant replay. I think a lot of 80s and 90s radio, people just use it to play the funny sound effects.
Yeah, that's what we did.
like-
Or the instant replay for me, what I would use it for is like if somebody called in and they're like, "Hey, you just won those tickets. Who's rocking your balls?" And then the guy would, "Hey, it's JRR, man." And he'd be like, "Thanks so much." And then you'd record that and then you'd edit it all up, and then as you were getting ready to play like Pantera or something, like it'd start playing, turn, and you'd play the drop, and you'd go, "Hey, thanks for rocking my balls, JRR." JRR. And then you'd hit play, and it'd play that, and then you'd be like, "I'm a DJ, look at me."
It is more impressive what like board ops used to do as compared to now. It's because I was a board op for 1 year of my life.
Yeah, I trained you, and I take great pride in that.
And
My liege, I trained great. You know what? I trained him, and I'm going to give you a compliment. He outdid the master. He became better than me.
I didn't even.
And why he became
I just
better
hit
than
one
me?
button.
This man was able to, for a full year, not play one EAS test. And if you can do that and not get fired, I feel like you are the master.
All I had
the true master.
I just had to put the volume up and hit one button. I didn't even do anything. Back in the day, you guys had to type it. What were you doing?
Okay, so for me, and I think mine was even worse than what you were describing, because for mine, we had a piece of equipment called the Digicart, same company. I think it was called 360, or 360 Replay, I think was the name of the company. And you can buy these online. I wanted to get one for the studio, but it would literally be like buying a landline for the studio, right? Like, why do I need that? But it was a box, and then it had a little remote pad, like you would have, like the person in the courtroom has, like a stenographer. Like it was like a little pad with numbers on it.
Yeah.
And it had a few other little characters, like a play and record. And if you had, let's say you had a Thurston's Used Cars, then you had, like, say you had Walmart, then you have Don Mealy Chevrolet, you've got all your ads, you'd have to find the number. So Don Mealy's 3311. Then you'd find Walmart, that's 2286. Then you find, Peaches Records, that's 2281. And you'd have to memorize all these 4-digit numbers or look them up on a little piece of paper. And so for the spot...
Paper?
I know. So the spot block would have like 6 spots in it. So you'd go like 2241, 4446, and you'd enter them all in, and you'd look. There was no screen. And you'd look and you'd see, okay, they're all in order. You had like almost like a little LCD where you could see what you were writing, but you had no computer screen or anything. And
it was just like green,
black and
green,
gray with
like DOS.
Yeah, it's like gray with
matrix.
dark black.
Okay,
that's what you're looking at. And you type in your numbers, and they're playing, and you hit a timer, right? Because you know your spot block's 6 minutes long. Boom, you hit your timer, and you had it set for 6 minutes, and it starts counting down, and boom. Better wish it's right. Hope it's right.
That's why I was like, you would think, commercial break, that's when you'd run to the bathroom. But, I was always afraid that what if I screwed these things up, like the third one and suddenly doesn't play.
So you just pee your pants.
So
That's what I did.
Yeah, I would just hold it for 4
I would just I would just use the bathroom in my pants. But
because it was a smooth jazz station, so it's not like, there's a lot of 8-minute songs.
Yeah.
And then I was always afraid if I left the studio. I was there on the weekend, so I was the only person in the whole building.
It was a lot more
I was afraid
stressful.
I'd leave and get locked out.
There was really no such thing as true automation. It was very stressful.
Yeah.
Because like, if
you were doing
wanted,
it real time.
So like if I were working on the weekends running music for a real radio even, and then I wanted to smoke a cigarette, and believe me, I did because I was totally addicted. I would put on like, the Smiths' "How Soon Is Now," which is 7 minutes and 48 seconds or something. Drew Garabo taught me that, and that was his weed song. And we'd put that on, and then you'd time it. You put it on like a timer that you take with you. Your phone didn't have a timer. You'd have to back time it in your mind, or you just run and hope. You'd be like, well, if I run down there and hotbox a cigarette, I'll be up by 2 minutes left.
You looked at your watch.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And you'd run down the stairs.
It's so funny too because as automation got I came into radio when things were basically automated.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I looked around, I'm like, you don't need a human to do this. I'm hitting one button and then everything's on a scrum profit just going you can load it all in, and then now of course there's program directors that do it from their house. They're just loading stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
to
Jack
the
says
system.
that sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess we should dig in now to
okay.
the things that we're going to put in our mouths.
New foods I brought in. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I've got one right by you guys.
Okay.
Better Goods. It's that little blue tub thing there.
Okay.
So if you were to just look at that, what store would you figure that came from? I think it looks very Target-y.
You know what I'm going to guess on colors? Can I guess on colors?
Sure.
IKEA.
No,
I was going to go Aldi.
Walmart.
No, okay.
If you all look at Walmart, it's called Better Goods. They've been doing all kinds. If you look, there's all kinds of Better Goods stuff across Walmart now. They're trying to get slightly fancier stuff. These are
awesome.
like one's an Italian tuna pasta bowl, one's a Mexican, one's Italian, and they're shelf stable. So like you can put that in your drawer and it's good till 2027.
I don't like how Walmart's trying to trick me. It should be an airbrush because I know it's Walmart.
And the fact that they're calling it Better Goods, is tricking my brain into thinking this is truly a Better Good.
And here, Terriman, there's a spork in there too.
Okay.
Essentially, it doesn't look like a can, but it's as much canned goods as a can of soup.
Now,
oh wow, this is like this. You know what this is? This is a cleverly packaged into the world food.
Yeah, exactly. Hurricanes and
this is cleverly
the end
packaged
times are
into
coming.
the end time. Yeah, this is I'm scared to death food.
is Mexican tuna salad, which is something that I never really
I had some of that last night.
wanted to put together.
I tried. Who's got the Italian one? I tried that.
I've got the Italian one.
It's okay. I mean, it's a canned pasta salad.
Oh wow!
So,
okay,
yeah.
it already looks a little rough. I mean, we're off to
yeah.
Look at monkey brains like Indiana Jones.
How long will this?
Oh man, it stinks like fish. Oh God, I can't do it.
Hot sauce helps a lot. I'll put it that way.
I like tuna. I
hate
love tuna.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
I hate tuna.
If you don't like
John,
canned tuna, sorry.
I hate canned tuna.
A little bit of Tom and Dan history.
Oh, I hate fish. Oh God, it smells like. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I like that fish.
I know you love that. Yeah.
Oh.
This guy, every morning, let's go back to radio. Every morning he'd go downstairs, he'd eat a 2-foot-long tuna sub.
Well, no.
Hot sauce all over it.
No, you're traumatized from when we started our business. And this is when we were recording at Daniel's house, Studio 2. I
call it Studio Tuna.
I would go to the Subway.
Yeah.
There was walking distance to get a big tuna sub, and I eat it in my chair.
Oh, big
and it
one.
made Daniel so mad.
Yeah, who gets a tuna sub with onions and pickles on it? Who does that?
It stunk the whole studio up.
Actually, that's what I put in my tuna salad.
Is it onions and pickles?
Sweet pickles and onions.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe some black olives.
Oh, that's some good.
He spit it on his finger and re-ate it. That's disgusting.
Good fish.
Remind me to clean his mic today. My God.
Like some good stinky tuna, extra stinky. That's good. I'll eat this for lunch.
To me, it's just like, oh, my boss won't let me leave. I guess I'll have to eat
this. And the
this
chat
on my
room, the
desk.
irony of me having, I was born with a tuna can. Maybe that's why I hate it. Maybe that's why I hate it, a boy named Tuna Can.
Yeah.
So those are out there. What's funny is somebody who created the packaging has a sense of humor. The Mexican one, if you look at the ingredients, one of them is actually red hot chili peppers.
It would be like
It doesn't just say chili peppers.
I thought you were going to go racist, John. I'm glad you didn't.
It'd be like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hating eggplants because giant.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
not the racist part.
I got it faster than Dan, but I pretended I
What the
didn't.
hell is this guy
I was
doing?
gonna use the black sausage as a joke, but I was like, God. Because just anyway. Sorry, let's move on.
Next
Yeah,
one.
let's move on.
All right, well, here, the whole shebang potato chips. I found these at a 7-Eleven a while back. These are most well known in prisons.
Yeah.
They were originally only available in prison commissaries,
These are.
and then people got out and wanted them and wanted the taste, and they couldn't buy them.
Yeah. I want a flavor from prison. These are.
There's a version. One of the wrap snacks is kind of like these, but this is the original. The whole
So,
shebang.
is it because?
Oh wow, that's
The-
fantastic.
It's 4 flavors in one. Here, let me get this. It's ketchup flavor, barbecue flavor, sour cream and onion, and salt
Yeah.
and vinegar all mixed together.
Oh yeah, that slaps. That's the only good thing about jail.
I bet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There you go. You saved it. You saved it. He saved it.
Do you think it's because they needed to create a totally new brand for prisons because the regular chip brands didn't want to be in prison commissaries?
Well, they probably
Yeah,
just
I mean-
threw a name at it. I would imagine that somebody big is connected to this, right?
I would guess, but I'm not. The company that, not the company that makes them,
those
but
are
the company that has them made, they do everything from.
Right? Those are. I mean,
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's like-
they're seriously. They're
it's
great.
worth going to jail for.
The company that makes these actually does everything from deodorant to ramen to those
Yeah.
CD
And
players
it
that
all
are clear
is
on
that
the outside.
flavoring.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Deodorant.
Yeah.
It burns my pit.
It's a sour cream and onion CD player. It's
That
delicious.
is a good chip.
Oh, dude, it's great.
Okay, yeah.
I can't buy them anymore because I'll eat the whole bag. Don't buy this for your wife; she'll get mad at you. She'll
For
be
a
like,
while
"Take
there,
these
they would
away."
only they would only FedEx them to people.
Now they have the other ones at 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
They have some called extra shebang. It's
Oh, I haven't seen
that.
those yet.
It's that,
More?
and yeah, they're there now.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a black bag, and it's that with like 7,000 more sodium all over it. Yeah, 7,000 more milligrams.
Do you think, like, I can understand you do a stint in prison,
Yeah.
right? You do, let's say, 5 years, and you're eating these chips all the
That's
time.
more than a stint.
And then you get out, and you're like, man, I love those chips.
regular chips just don't do it for me anymore.
So you find the whole
chips in a man's hand.
you get these chips, but then when you're eating them,
Yeah.
doesn't it bring
You
you,
gotta go
back
to the zoo. You gotta go to the zoo. You gotta eat them at the zoo.
No, but you know how, like, if you eat something in
Yeah.
schools,
you
like
think it's
those-
gonna trigger them like a Vietnam vet? You start.
You can be nostalgia for anything you live through.
Yeah,
That's
but-
true. I learned that yesterday when I asked a question to Howie Mandel, and he didn't think I knew what nostalgia meant, and he shamed me. And made me
I knew that was going to get
and
you.
it,
I
and
thought
it
about
hurt.
that.
It hurt my heart, and I had to take it because I messed up the question. I phrased it incorrectly, and I sounded like an idiot.
But wouldn't the fact that it brings you back to a time that you don't want to remember, like, dissuade
I have foods
you
that do that.
from
I have
eating those
foods.
chips?
I have foods that like take me back to a time that was like traumatic.
Yeah,
that I
like-
can't eat the food anymore.
Yeah, you would think that people
Like Mexican tuna salad. Something happened. I just can't. I can't do it anymore. This guy's all in. He's been forking. When is the last time, John, you've ever seen Tom forking in between us talking? You like that
after we
fish.
stopped talking about it, he still kept eating.
You
it.
like
Yeah.
that fish.
I didn't eat my mid-morning protein bar because I knew John was coming, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Well, I
gonna
have
eat
a
the
protein
fish.
bar coming too.
Oh, hey, why are you unzipping your pants?
I hate protein bars. I hate everything.
Well,
I
you've been
eat.
so regimented now that you are going to start to rebel, but you got to hold tight. And be a
Yeah, no,
legend.
I don't care. I'll just keep doing it, but I hate it. I'm just
All
telling
right, what
you.
else we got?
Well, I got one more chip. Let's see. You both got Guinness pretzel pieces in front of you.
All right.
One of them is called pub style. One is called cheese pub style.
Are these by Snyder's of Hanover?
They're similar, but I don't think they're by them.
These are by Vermont Cheese Products.
These look like Gordettos. My
Yeah, same market,
Yeah.
but they taste. They don't taste like anything else out there.
every,
are they different ones?
Well, just one has cheese and one is just straight Guinness flavor.
every time
I'll try Tom's.
Every time I go into a rest stop on a road trip, and my wife and family are telling me to get some Gordettos, and I'm like, Gordettos? What are you guys, old grandmas? Like, there's so many better snacks than stinky old Gordettos.
I like the bagel chips in those.
Isn't it Gardettos?
Yeah, but just get some GD, what are they called? Bugles. Then or whatever. Just get.
Well, those are good too.
Don't like pick out, because my family does the same things. They pick out, like, I like the cheese doodles in here.
They're not Gordettos. It's Gardettos.
Whatever.
I think you do this on purpose just to make people mad.
It's just, they pick out what they like. I'm just get what you like.
They make all bagel chips.
I know, but they get the stinky Gordettos.
Yeah. Well, Andrea doesn't let us get anything that's like we have some regular chips in our house as like a goof and a fun, but like for regular snacks, because she's on a health kick now,
okay,
and it's all nutrition and macros and everything. We have these things called popcorners, which are
I've seen those.
Popcorn that's been smushed into a chip, and they're terrible. They're not good.
But don't you want?
These aren't bad.
So what do you think? I mean, it's a different flavor.
They're not
right?
as good as the Snyder's of Hanover.
The mustard onion ones. Those are very good too.
I think the honey mustard onion Snyder's are the ones that everybody freaks out over, right?
And the popcorn into a chip. Don't you want the popcorn in the traditional popped version?
I do,
because that's
but you can't put enough in a bag.
Okay, so for like
if you bought a bag for like the week, you would need. The bag would be as large as I am. You know, it'd be a 5.5 foot tall bag of popcorn.
These are they're like
I vote no on those.
You got to like the flavor or not like the flavor.
I don't like them.
It's yeasty and malty and those kinds of things.
I don't like it. Tom likes fish and not yeasty. Fish, pro fish.
They also make.
You think I like yeast too, since I like fish. Just you know, but I don't. Not a yeast man. More of all fish.
All fish man.
Same company also makes a Guinness macaroni and cheese that I like.
I like that we're so close to the end of the universe that we're like, you know what? Let's just throw everything at the wall.
Yeah.
We're out of time, right? So just throw everything at the wall.
All right. Okay, so
Tom's forehead wrinkled when
I've
I
had
pulled these
this.
out.
I've had
these are Reese's peanut butter flavors.
It's the best.
One protein bar.
No, it's not even a protein bar. It is. It's a secret candy bar, and it's so good. I had one of these.
It does taste like a protein bar.
I had one of these, and it is so good because it's all peanut butter. It's a peanut butter lover's one. I bought you one of these, I think. But he doesn't eat these.
I want to know, Tom, how are these macros? 18 grams of protein, 3 grams of sugar, 250 calories.
I don't understand any of that. All I know is a run, and then that should do it. But I do need to, just like Andrew's doing, and like Dr. Powers from My Eternal, he's like, you really got to track this stuff, especially as you get older, because it's nearly impossible to lose weight. Yeah,
it's good. I like these. John, what do you think of these?
For a protein bar, they're okay, but they still taste like a protein bar. And for people at home, they don't look like Reese's peanut butter cups. It's a bar.
But there are peanut butter
coated in peanut butter stuff and little peanut butter chips on it. It's I think it's mostly whey. That's the protein in these.
I like whey because my neighbor yesterday told me that soy makes you gay. He did.
I said, so dry.
And I said to him as I was walking in, but he didn't hear me. I was like, I don't think that's true. As I walked inside, so
it's like I'm eating mummy fingers. So dry.
Yeah, very dry.
All right, John, keep talking. We can't talk now.
Funny. Let's see.
John, plug your website. Plug your website, John, where people can find you.
ThatGuyOnTV.com.
Joey Mazak, can you bring me a water? Joey, I need a water. I'm dying. Not a beer. But I want one so bad.
Yeah. Joey doesn't even understand where water is.
Yeah, he's running around like the place is on fire.
He's like, do they make alcohol water?
It's called beer. Thank you. It's frozen. It's frozen hard.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's the only one in there, by the way. All right.
So compared to other protein bars,
Tom's got it. He's good now.
Yeah. I gagged it down. All right, what do we got next, John?
I got
so it's tolerable, but not the best in the world.
It's fine. I mean, it does taste like Reese's peanut butter cups. Although it just reminds me how mad I am eating this protein bar and not Reese's. I'd rather eat just dry nothing, and then that tells me, all right, you're punishing yourself.
It is a corporate time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
We are live on Twitch and YouTube. We'd love it if you'd come over, join the chat room, talk to people, meet new people. In fact, we just had a pinball meetup a couple of weeks ago for the majority of our Twitch and YouTube subscribers. And if you'd like to meet great people and have some fun, head on over to twitch.tv/TomandDanLive or youtube.com/@TomandDanLive.
Speaking of subscribers, you can subscribe to become a BDM. That is our member program.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for over a decade, and we're about to do BDM Appreciation Week.
We've been doing it so long that member programs are not popular anymore. That's how long we've been doing it so long that we are now actively hemorrhaging members.
There's too many subscriptions.
Yeah, there's too many subscriptions out there, like all kinds of crazy subscriptions you can do. So why not pick up another one?
But I guarantee you, they don't do a Netflix Appreciation Week where they offer you a $5 Netflix T-shirt like we do for BDMs, and
nope.
We're going to start the pre-sale of that on March 10th, I believe. But you have to be a BDM to be involved. Not only do you get the $5 T-shirt, we also send other gifts in the packages with that.
Limited edition stickers. And you never know what. I mean, some of you might get the bone from my hip. Nobody knows what goes in there. We take stuff from the studio.
And then we're doing a BDM Appreciation Party on April 19th. And that all BDMs will get an invite for them and a guest. We've got live music. We got a live show.
I wonder
planned.
if I'll be walking with a cane.
Yeah. You get to see Daniel.
Sword cane.
On a cane.
I'm going to have a sword cane like Billy Idol.
And but you
because
have
everyone knows I'm our show's Billy Idol.
You have to be a current BDM subscriber to get the invite, and that you can find all the information on TomandDan.com. Just click under subscribers or BDMs, you'll see it.
Yep.
And then you can get on the BDM Facebook page. All of the stuff.
Yeah, it's a good spot, and we'd love to meet you, hang out with you, and get to thank you. I love being able to thank the listeners that have been listening to us for a very long time. When we struck out and went independent before anybody else was doing it, I love telling people, hey, thanks for believing in what we do. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's because of the BDMs that we can even do this job for a living.
100%.
Let's do some weird jobs.
All right, so writing a weird job song about, I guess, what the person does. You gave me a heads up that the person works at a nut house.
She used to work at a psychiatric hospital.
Right, which most normal people call loony bins. So let's go with a brand new hit song from me, Little D. Here is the new song, Loony Bin.
Working at the loony bin, the people here aren't human. Working at the loony bin, they always throw their poo, man. We keep them here so you don't see what's happening with humanity. Working at the loony bin, please take your pills. Working at the loony bin, oh my God, it smells. We lock them up and feed them meds, and they just scream and crap their beds, and they just scream and crap their beds.
There you go. A little loony bin action, right?
On the line with us is Lisa. How you doing, Lisa?
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
I think are you song, regretting? I think she's mad now. Great job, Tom.
So, Lisa,
is this my wife?
You worked at a psychiatric hospital?
I did. I worked at a stabilization, like a crisis stabilization facility. So when people were having like breakdowns, it was more of a short stay kind of place. Nobody ever threw poop at me. I did have a guy once poop in a sink and try and get me to call an ambulance because he kept saying he threw it up.
All right.
I think that's worse, actually. I would say that having poop thrown at you is more simple than the sadistic crime of pooping in the sink and then trying to convince you that he puked it out.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Like, that's clearly formed poop.
You win.
Did not throw that.
You win. That is a fantastic story right off the bat.
I would have just gone on the floor. It's just like, why take the
That's
effort,
what Mike Busey does.
Get on the sink.
Mike Busey does right on the floor.
So, Lisa, what kind did you have to have any certification to get this job?
Please say no for comedy.
I'm a nurse.
Okay.
Okay, it's a nurse.
Yeah, you're a real deal then.
So now, the people that get checked in or taken to this facility, where did most of them come from?
So the place where I worked was similar to like a Baker Act receiving facility. So they could be, taken in off the street, or their doctor could call in and request them to be committed to have like that 3-day.
We need to
review
change
by
the
a doctor.
name of Baker Acted because it always makes me think that they're going to Cookie Land, and they're not. They're being forcibly detained because
doo-doo sink.
Yeah, I feel like we need to change the whole thing because the first thing, this just shows you how stupid I am. When anybody goes, he was Baker Acted, I think of a chef's hat because I'm stupid.
Yeah. Call it, you've been doo-doo synced. It's more accurate.
I would know what you mean.
So, now, in your time there, was there anybody ever that was, like, taken in that you thought didn't deserve to be taken in?
Or was, like, hiding out?
Both. There were a lot of people that would get brought in who really didn't need to be there. I do want to say, I'm not trying to make fun of these people, but some of the stuff that happened was funny.
Well, you don't make fun of these people.
Yeah,
you leave that to me. I know where I'm going after this life. In fact, after March 11th, I may be meeting my maker, so I got it covered.
Yeah. Don't worry.
I think you'll do good with that surgery, but and it has come so far in the last 15 years, so you'll be surprised.
I was low key fishing for some help. Thank you for that. This lady knows. I love this lady.
Yeah, you're just.
So I can tell you, as far as nursing and tuition goes, one guy who really didn't deserve to be there was we had a kid who got brought in by the cops. They were probably trying to do him a favor because he was drunk and he decided to fight them. And I guess they must have dropped him on his head, and instead of taking him to jail, they took him to the hospital. So one of my jobs was to check the people and make sure they were medically okay to go back to the unit or get them checked out. And he was a young kid. I don't think he was drinking age. And he was like, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm having trouble hearing out of this ear. I think I might have an ear infection. And I got that kind of funny feeling of I should probably get this guy checked out. Didn't really have a good reason to, but just something felt wrong.
Was he mentioning his dad being Michael Jordan by chance? And did he have ketamine in his pocket?
No. But I ended up sending him to the hospital, and his brain was bleeding, and they had to fly him to the closest facility to have emergency surgery.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So if I hadn't sent him, to get checked out, he probably would have, gone to bed and died.
Yeah, 100%. That is. That happens, I feel like, so many times.
The cops dropping them on their head? Oh, yeah.
Well, no, with medical professionals, we always are quick to not only point out, but to talk about stories about how people missed stuff and the person died. And that leads all of society to think oh, no one's doing their job right. And then we never talk about all the times they caught something, they were extra attentive. And then just Lisa could have just been go to bed or whatever. And because she's hey, something may be up and save this kid's life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That happens all the time. And then no one talks about it because, of course, it doesn't become a story. But, anyway. So Lisa,
my HPV was misdiagnosed, and I had to just wait till it went dormant within my body.
So Lisa,
I like to throw medical knowledge at the nurse and get a little medical chuckle.
So was there anybody else that ever gets brought to the facility because of Baker Act? Because I feel like the term Baker Act gets thrown around pretty loosely, and someone has a
parents throw it around too. They're like, "I'll Baker Act you."
Everybody wants to Baker Act someone, and I'm I think it's harder than
it's like
people
when people
think.
say, "I'll sue you."
Yeah, and then, but is it harder than we think?
There has to be some kind of proof that somebody wants to hurt themselves or others. These days, it's easier, I think, because people send a lot of texts to each other, threatening. But it has been a while since I have worked there. It's been probably about 15 years. So we didn't have as much of that back then. But most of the people needed to be evaluated. It was probably 75% really needed it. That other 25 probably could have got outpatient help, but, stuff happens. Along the line of the listening to patients, I did have a patient who kept coming out. I worked the night shift, so of course that's kind of the wildest stuff happens. kept coming out and telling us there was a snake in their room. And we kept being like, go to bed, you're fine. We went in there and checked. We saw nothing. And about the fourth time, we just thought that they were hallucinating. We went in, and there was a snake in the room. So you do have to listen to people because,
oh my God. That's crazy hairy. There's a snake in the room. Last time I went in there, it was his penis. I'm not doing that again.
I would have never checked. I would have been so sure that they were crazy because I've been like, listen.
You did the math already.
I did the math when I woke up this morning that I wasn't going to listen.
There's no snakes in Crazy Harry's room.
Any of the patients that tell me anything, I'm never going to believe.
Yeah.
And then, so the fact that you kept checking is amazing.
Lisa, I've always thought, and it's always been a bit of a, if you follow the show, it's always been a bit of a dream of mine to fade into the shadows and be able to hide away from Tom and this stupid show and my dumb family and everything. And
in a mental hospital.
In a mental hospital. It's one of my new ones. I've always had Living Under a Bridge. That's number one, still number one. But right on its tail is hiding in the mental institution. People think I'm crazy. New name. And all I got to do is act crazy all day. Just walk around my ass hanging out in a hospital gown. Not bad.
Like Ace Ventura taught us. You put on a tutu, and it's a beautiful facility, and you wander around what looks like a mansion. I'm sure it's exactly like that.
So, would it be possible for me to do that, or did you think anybody was maybe hamming it up?
So nowadays, the big push is to not have people institutionalized. So we saw sort of like a rotating door of people who were chronically mentally ill, who just really couldn't be fixed, would come into the short stay facility, the crisis facility where I worked. They'd be kept for a couple months till there was a bed at the state hospital. The place where I worked really wasn't set up to have people long term. The beds, like the rooms were all shared, so you didn't have a room to yourself.
Gotcha.
The bathroom doors are locked, so you can't go in there and hang yourself. And so they'd come in, be there a few months, waiting for the bed at state. They'd go to state for maybe a year. Maybe longer, and as long as they weren't dangerous there, eventually they would try to integrate them back in the community, and people, deserve to have that chance. But generally they'd come right back to crisis stabilization a month and be going back to the state hospital, unfortunately.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't. I think I'd be clever enough to, once you guys have re-released me, that's when I'd start my new family.
So it's basically what we all think. It's a lot of times a revolving door where you treat
sad. That is sad.
You treat someone that's probably homeless, and you get them back on the meds, you get them good, and then you have to release them, and then of course they'd have nowhere to go, no supervision, and then they fall off their meds, and then they end up back at the facility.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, let's talk about meds, because if I was, and this is hypothetical, but let's say I'm the...
you're going to say something bad, aren't you?
I'm the owner or manager of the psychiatric facility.
Am I in your facility?
Yes, you are.
Am I crazy, or am I hiding out away from my family?
Oh, you're crazy.
Okay, all right.
And hiding.
Okay, all right.
You can be both.
I'm both? Both things can be true. It is allowed.
So I'm so worn down by the constant revolving door.
Your hair's falling out. You wear an old gray suit and a brown tie.
And the system.
You're more like a prison warden and less like a caring president of a facility.
And the insurance nightmare of it all. And the cops, they just keep bringing the crazy homeless to dropping them off in the front door.
And you're having some whacked out gay affair with your assistant. And you have a young man assistant.
I'm screaming, quit.
Fresh law student from Stetson Law Academy.
I know you have nowhere to take these people. Quit dropping off here. I've had my last resort. I can't get... So
you're actually bussing up some of your guys and sending them to other states as a political stance.
And every time I'm there in my office, and everybody's screaming, like I can't take it anymore. So then I just train my staff. I'm like, just give them whatever medication shuts them up. Because I need them down.
Increase the dosage.
I need them all lethargic, walking around here like zombies.
Just like the sharks at SeaWorld. Give them all Xanax.
Give them all the downers and all the barbiturates.
Just like a zoo animal. Just like Steve Irwin's snakes. Put them in the freezer.
Keep them down. Anyway, so... what What do you think about that strategy? I guess I imagine that's all of places.
Sorry,
I'm just saying what I think
what do you
everybody
think
does.
Is Tom a good director of the facility?
I'm using myself as an example of what I imagine everybody does. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the person in charge is usually not there on the front line, but you got to remember, all medication requires a doctor's order. So we didn't just have free reign to drug people up, and they consider that a form of restraint now. So back when I did it, we could do a lot of...
now. Oh, my God. Drugs are restraint. I restrain myself every night. Every night before I go to bed, I restrain my balls off. This is dumb. What are we doing to each other?
I'm electively restraining myself.
No, she got the digital shackles.
So I don't know how they get anybody to work at these facilities anymore because they pretty much have stopped allowing chemical restraint. Even when I was there, we didn't really do any restraining or seclusion. You're trying to talk these people down as much as you can, but pretty much every night we were waking up doctors for emergency orders. And it is not like on TV. There aren't really orderlies. It's you, a couple of the nurses, some behavioral techs. You all get trained in the non-abusive physical techniques, and you are fighting for your life in there.
Oh, my God. And she said orderlies, which makes me always think of Disorderlies, which was the movie the Fat Boys did, where it was three young rappers that worked at a mental institution. I'm going to have to go back and revisit that movie.
All my knowledge of mental institutions comes from the movie Terminator 2, where all the orderlies have like a police baton.
Yeah, with a...
Yeah, but they still have like pajama or like nurse pants, which I always thought was it's hard. You're hitting someone with a baton, but you have
no
nurse
protection
pants
on your thighs or your shins.
Yeah. And there's no tactical gear at all.
If one of those crazy people get a hold of one of your baton, he's going to knock your shins hard.
Yes, there's definitely no weapons allowed. I always kind of figured if it came down to it, there was a really heavy on the desk.
What about like
save somebody's life?
What about like a spit? Do you have the spit shields you put on people's heads?
Nobody ever spit at me. I did have somebody throw a cup of juice at me once.
What?
But really, they're people too. Yes, I can tell you, like, it was scary. I was like 22 when I started there. I was real young when I got out of nursing school, and I went there pretty soon after. And within, I think I was still on orientation, some guy came up to the desk about, shift change or so, and he had a cup, and he was like, I believe you asked for this. And I was like, well, what? And he had brought a sample of his urine because we had been trying to get a sample, I guess, for a week or two. He was, kind of confused and out of it. We were trying to figure out if it was drug-induced.
I believe you.
So I was like, oh, great, thanks. And I was like, hold on, let me grab some gloves. I'll, grab the urine sample. So I walk, 5 feet away, turn around. He looks back and forth, gets paranoid, grabs the cup, and just downs the whole thing of his own pee.
Oh.
Full cup. I mean, it was sloshing over. It was at least 8 ounces.
He's like a big boy. It's like nickel beer night.
Hanging open, what do we do?
It's a nickel beer night. That's a big. Yikes!
Back to the movies, Lisa. In the movies, when you're walking through the mental institution, there's always the common area where everybody's gathered around watching, like a tiny tube TV,
and they're playing oversized checkers on a blanket, like you have at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is locked in their room screaming like a prisoner.
Yeah, so what's it like during the days and what do people do for, to entertain themselves?
They do have common area like that. And during the day, they're not really allowed to be in their rooms. They're supposed to be out, socializing or whatever, or, participating in whatever kind of therapeutic activities there are. There are crowns. There are no full-length pencils. All the pencils were like golf pencils. They have to come to the desk and ask for them to be sharpened. Anything that could be used as a weapon, we had to be careful with. And they just kind of hang out in the day room. The TV goes. They can't really hear it because it's so loud. They have a phone where they can use the phone for phone time.
What's the number one show? What do they like to watch? The wackos.
don't think they got to choose. I think we just put on whatever.
Oh,
come on. You gotta
like the Jiffy Lube. You have to watch.
No.
You have to watch Fox 35.
Yeah, you could change their ideology. If you have on Fox News, you could like convert everybody there into some wackadoodle.
Oh, yeah.
You owe it to everybody. You got to put it on something like middle of the road.
Well, you watch the WB. That's So Raven.
Yeah.
Like let them watch whatever they want, right?
Hogan's
Netflix?
Heroes.
Yeah, I mean, they had to ask for the remote, so we just they couldn't hear it. It was too loud anyway.
So did they?
It was too loud.
What were they having up on like a 40?
Was it like overmodulated? They couldn't hear it.
No, like everybody else on the unit talking and stuff.
Oh, everybody
all
was
the
so
screams
loud.
of pain and anguish.
Did they?
And so, those facilities can't turn people away. They're mandated to keep accepting. So it got pretty packed, especially on the weekends. And I worked the night shift and on the weekend. And so by Monday, we'd have people kind of lined up in the hallway on mattresses.
Oh my God!
Did they have video games or anything? Did any of them have
No.
tablets? So nothing.
No,
The internet?
no phones allowed. They weren't allowed to have any. They get searched when they come in. They can't really have any of their personal effects. Now,
Did
these
Jeff
days,
Howell-
maybe they let them have their phones, but they didn't when I was there.
Did Jeff Howell ever come and play, or did you have any entertainment where you had some horrible one-man band come and play for them, and then they were all just wandering and screaming at him?
No. They have an activities person during the week, during the daytime, and they give them crosswords and that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, I'd go crazy too.
So Lisa, this sounds
This
rough.
might be the hardest one we've had.
And what made you stay? And was there any redeeming parts of this job? Because I'm sure everybody's listening to this. I'm like, man, why would people do this?
I hope you say, I met my husband, Chicken Wing, and I love you, Chicken Wing.
So, like I said, I was really young, and it was interesting. And when I started doing it, it was kind of thrilling. It was fun. It was dangerous. And when you're 22, you don't have that same fear of death. But I worked there for about 5 years, and over that time, it started getting scarier and scarier, and that was why I left. We had a point where there were nights where there were no men working in the building.
Oh, man.
Oh, they call that ladies' night. It was awesome. It's ladies' night at the Wacky Bed.
Hey, make sure to announce that over the PA.
It's 2 for 1 big fat crazies.
Before bedtime. Like, hey.
2 for 1 big fat crazies.
So I've got another story I'd like to share while I've got y'all.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, she's got a digital gun.
I've got lots of them.
All right, go ahead.
So, and most of these are from the first year I worked there because you get more and more used to it. So, at first, when I would get home, my husband would be like, what happened last night? And I'd be like, you wouldn't believe it. It's crazy stuff happened.
Yeah.
And then after, a year, he's like, what happened? I'm like, nothing. Pretty normal night. We were all just working. It was 3 a.m, charting at the desk. And we start hearing this banging from down the hall. So we all go running down the hall into the room. And this guy had flooded a sink, emptied the soap, got naked, soaped himself up, soaped up the room, pushed the beds together somehow, and he was up naked on the mattress trying to kick out the window. So when we all run into the room, it is soaked up and wet, and we all just go flying, and then we're wrestling with this guy.
This is an amateur hour. You can't kick a window when you're soapy. Everybody knows that.
Oh, it's like Home Alone. He soaked the door so the nurses fell.
So as soon as we run in, he's naked, and we're all trying to wrestle him because he's trying to attack
and
us.
then a
'cause he's
paint
trying to
can
get that
knocked
door
one
out.
of your wigs off.
I like you ask him, why'd you get naked? You're like, that's the crazy part. Oh, okay.
I'd have done it without that part.
That's a planning on his part.
Yeah, but you have no leverage like that, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean, we were all just sliding around on the floor.
yeah, it's like trying to do doggy style on a new room bed.
Come
You
on.
can't do it.
Was he fighting you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So you had to restrain him.
Was
and-
he? Yeah.
We were trying to grab hold of him, and he was naked and soaped up, and the floor was also soaked up
Hold
and
on.
wet, and the sink is overflowing everywhere.
Where are you from? You say naked.
Oh, gosh.
Where are you from?
No. She was like,
Originally Tennessee.
Okay, I love
Oh,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
You sound like
We knew it was around that area.
Yeah, I like it. I like your accent. It's cute.
Before you leave, Lisa, any other stories? And I want to find out how much you made for this job.
Yeah, you're great.
I mean, I've got so many from over the years there, but I don't know. Who was the Queen of England's lost trans-child. He thought George Bush had kidnapped him from the Queen of England when he was a child.
You see, this has been going on for forever, y'all. You're out there believing all this garbage.
George Bush.
Wacky people yelling, just wacky stuff, and you're all believing it. Look at this. This is how long ago was this?
Yeah. It's just we didn't see it on the internet, Ben. You see what I'm saying?
You guys are living your lives on the internet. The same craziness.
Yeah. This guy.
He was just a big guy, burly guy, like wearing plaid, but he would take a little scarf and tie it around his head, and he said, I'm actually... And no, I'm not saying anything wrong towards people because he wasn't truly. He was just delusional.
Yeah,
But he said, I'm really a woman, but George Bush kidnapped me, and I'm supposed to be the next Queen of England.
Yeah,
but George Bush kidnapped me as a baby and raised me as a man.
Yep, mission accomplished, he said. I got that baby.
Well, what if he was telling the truth?
That would suck. That would suck so bad.
Like, you know.
And then you have...
George Bush.
And then you have your dad. Your dad is active king right now, right?
Yeah.
And what are you doing? And what are you doing? Are you living authentically? Are you living as a trans woman? Or are you still having to live as a man? This is terrible. What happened to that man?
Lisa.
Or woman, I mean.
What did you
can tell you delusions do not go away. It seems like there's no way to fix those. They learn to be quiet about them.
Would you help me and Tom?
I know that.
Would you help me and Tom find and reinstate the true Queen of England?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
I've had plenty of delusions.
This whole show could be called Delusion.
I used to talk about them a lot, and then in the past 15 years, I've kept them quiet, but it still lives inside. and then the people that I feel trust enough to tell them, I tell them. But the rest, I'm like, this guy doesn't.
Any famous people or anybody of local notoriety in there, like Ralph Kazarian or possibly David Moss in there?
Nothing that I could share.
Okay.
So what'd you get paid, Lisa?
Back then, about $25 an hour.
All right. Yeah. Well, still, I mean, we're talking about George Bush times.
Certainly we are.
I mean,
especially now.
It had to be something at least more
pay.
Yeah, because nobody would do this job. I wonder what they get paid now. You think it's like, $35 an hour?
I don't think we have them.
Probably about $45.
$45? I guess that's what
That's kind of standard nurse pay right now.
And that's like,
it seems like a real rough job.
Also, I think a lot of people think of her job and think like, oh, old folks home. No, that's not what we're talking about. That's hard too. Those people get abused by elderly people that are delusional racists yelling at everything.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've been in a few, with grandparents. And you're like, uh-oh, this is not the way I wanted to spend my Sunday.
And you know how little sympathy I have growing up in Haiti for this old white man. You're going to pee for yourself, old man.
Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks, guys.
If somebody in the chat room say, is it your birthday or no?
No.
No, somebody said, Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa.
What was that?
I don't know why they said that.
Anyway.
I'm trying to catch up with the chat.
All right, thank you, and we appreciate you participating in Weird Job.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Thanks, guys.
You win. Thanks for listening.
All right. So
it's a hard one, dude.
That is rough.
They're really hard.
Also, we often forget, day to day, that these people are first, it's amazing that you would do this job, and if you truly care about the patients and try your hardest to be compassionate,
and most do.
Yeah. I know.
The
100%.
one at Andrea's,
you only hear about the ones that don't, and that's the minority by far.
God bless the people that were taking care of Andrea's grandparents. They did such a good job, and it was such a sad situation. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, the majority of caretakers, we should cherish them more in our society because we need these people.
Tip them out. Do people do that?
No,
you got to do that. If you have a father or mother in a care facility, and Christmas time rolls around, and they have a nurse or an orderly that assists them, you should buy them something rad. I'm talking an Xbox, big 1000, a big TV, something amazing.
I'll tip the person like $48 at a good dinner with my family.
Yeah.
Did barely
With
anything.
the lady wiping your grandpa's butt, you get her nothing.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
I forgot. I'm like, I should have got her a Christmas card. Oh well.
We should 100% change this. We should be the guys that change this.
Yeah, but that's so tired. And I forget. All
Even like when we went and visited that one listener that was in a. Remember, he was dying.
Yeah,
and the staff there, they were the greatest human beings
I know.
on the like. They're special people to do that kind of stuff.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. We'd love it if you join us. Just search for @Tom and Dan Live.
Spencer and Jeff are here from the Orlando Science Center. How you guys doing?
Nice.
So let's talk the Orlando Science Center because it's about to be spring break, and if you're looking for something to do with your kids,
Don't let your kids be bored. Don't be that person.
then the Science Center is a perfect place to go for spring break because there's, you could go there every day,
Yes,
and
you
your
can.
kids can do something
Right.
new every single day.
Raise your hand if you've done double days at the Science Center.
No, I haven't done
I know
it.
you have. I think we've done them together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great place to go for kids of all ages, including me.
And are there still camp spaces available?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Tom, because spring break's this interesting thing, right? Some people go out of town, and some people just kind of work through it, and then the kids are stuck at home. So good when school's out, OSC is the place to be because we've got camps for kids, kindergarten up through 5th grade. There's still spots available. Really cool camps, all themed around the new Top Secret exhibit, which looks at spy technology and applies things like critical thinking and code breaking and solving mysteries. So yeah, there's definitely some spots. You need to check it out. You can find it on our camps page of the website, osc.org, or you can even just give us a call at 407-514-2000 and just say, tell me about spring break camps. But it's a great option, especially for working parents.
Code breaking.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother, Native American, was one of the
Was she
original
one of the wind
talkers. An original wind talker. Yeah.
Dolly is crazy.
I'm
Don't fall for it, Jeff.
Jeff and I linked up and he knew he was going to say wind talker. God, I love you, Jeff.
Yeah, don't underestimate Top Secret. That thing's really cool. It's like an escape room, but more science-y, and it's so good. There's like so much content in there. You can go in there and spend 2 hours just hanging out in our traveling exhibit. Even if you've been to all the other stuff, don't go to an escape room. Come to a cheaper place and do the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome.
Plus, that's a bad word, but it's not a bad word. But I was going to say playability of your exhibit seems to be a thing. Like that Guinness exhibit that I know is now no longer there, but that thing. It was
awesome.
almost like you couldn't make it through every installation.
Yeah.
So is that something that when you guys are looking at bringing in new attractions, new things for kids and adults to look at, like are you finding that it seems like they're packing a lot more into these type of
It's
deals?
important. Play is not a bad word. It's just like we all learn more while we're having fun. And if it's not cool, if it's not interesting, people aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
So the best exhibits really are fun. They are playable. They are appealing to multiple generations. And all that cool stuff is wrapped around some fun learning. And Top Secret does that really well. Guinness was really awesome with that. We loved having Guinness with us. And Top Secret is a great follow-up to that because it's got this cool retro James Bond, Austin Powers kind of vibe. But all the activities, while it's wrapped in this mystery of spies and solve who stole the quantum computer.
I don't know if you know this. You are sitting in front of Castleberry Austin Powers.
Nice.
That makes me mini-me. I'm taking that one. I'm taking that one.
Huge, man.
Take the power away.
But it's just like while you're in this cool exhibit and you're solving these codes and breaking these puzzles, you're learning really important STEM skills about critical thinking and collaboration and communication. And so it's this cool science exhibit that's just a lot of fun, and it's got cool spy stuff.
let's talk wind talkers for a second. They
They were using we were using their language to try as a new code, right?
Yes, they were using
which I think that's
old
fantastic.
Indian, I think it was Navajo language.
And that's true, real American words. So to me, like, of course, no one else is going to know that because that's as American as it gets. I love that story.
We had the technology to build an atom bomb, but we didn't have the technology to code talking on walkie-talkies back and forth to the point where we had to find Native Americans that knew their ancient language.
It's just like virtually unbreakable.
Right.
But
because it was so truly unique.
Yeah, it puts use some computers.
It's pretty wild to think about.
You can split the atom here.
I don't know.
So let's talk the universe with Spencer for a second.
Let's do it.
Is that our new show? It's the universe.
Let's
do a whole
talk
segment.
just in Navajo.
All right, you start.
So, man, back in the day, you do know that Tom's family for 38 years told him he was a Native American.
Well, everybody in Florida.
You know that, right? Not me. I was never told. They told me, they're like, we're from Germany, Art, and you are as white as it gets, and you're premature, and you almost died. So,
So we'll start with what's closest to us, the moon.
Yeah.
The second private moon landing happened.
Huge deal.
On Monday, I believe, and the third is going to happen today as we talk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think it's happened, or it's happening.
It may have already happened.
I think it was like 12:30. I forgot to check on my way.
So we're
in.
having so many moon landings now that I can't even keep up with them? That's what's happening?
Yeah. Well, they're not foot on the ground landings, but they're still cool enough.
I think it's just as cool, man. I'm sure they got video of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like the size of a compact car, and
what kind? Like a Fiat?
I don't know. They didn't. They just said compact car. I was glad you asked because I looked at it. I was like, there's a lot of compact
Mini
cars.
Cooper.
Yeah.
You know what I don't like?
There's the
I'll tell you what I
Urkel
don't. I don't like the Mini Cooper. They have a big Mini Cooper.
How
that
big?
kind of defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
is
have
that
a big Mini
so it's
Cooper.
a Maxi Cooper?
I think it's the Mini Cooper. I think it's called Big Country or something like that. It's like the Mini Cooper, Big Country.
So my question to Spencer is, they send these up there, and there's always like part of the story is like, oh yeah, we have a drill, we have a vacuum to vacuum up some moon dust, and they're like, we're going to do some other experiments.
Say fragments. That sounds.
Yeah.
Don't say dust.
And then they're really interested. I guess this new mission that's landing today has got an ice drill because they want to land it on like the South
I've
Pole.
seen those
moon.
in the magazines
Because they believe that there's ice on the moon, and they want to drill down to find it, right? So my question to you, Spencer,
what do we do with moon ice?
Put it in your drink.
Oh man, that's what rich people do. Holy smokes, if
right.
you're drinking
Moon
a
ice,
drink,
Reginald.
that's a huge
Yeah,
deal.
like
Chef, if
spring
we got
bottle
some
of
moon
moon
ice,
water.
man, that'd be awesome.
And Spencer, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we knew what the moon was made of, and it is made of Earth because the moon was created when a giant asteroid crashed into molten lava Earth and broke off some molten lava, and then it basically just reformed into our moon, blah, 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 millions of years later, and now we got this moon. So essentially, it's going to have exactly what ancient Earth had, which I guess is kind of interesting, but it's like...
Are you saying this is not interesting? It's a long-winded way of saying it.
And that's the end of it. Let's move on.
What do you think,
Not
Spencer?
interesting.
Not interesting?
Not good. Let's move on.
You could have just said this isn't for me.
Is there something I'm missing, and they actually could find something interesting in the moon, or is it just going to be more of what we know?
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure more of what you know. Here's the thing. Do we even know what the Earth is fully made of, right? We know we got the iron in there. We got like this core that is probably molten or something, but we don't really know that much about our own planet. I would honestly assume that we're going to learn more about the composition of our planet by studying the moon because of that impact you're talking about than we would even know, because we can't drill that far into the dang planet. We're limited by, I think Russia's got the deepest hole at some couple of miles, but we've got another 1,000 miles left to drill, right? So the moon's easier to drill on, honestly. I mean, I would bet that we might actually learn a bit about Earth a little bit from this kind of mission, which would be interesting.
Didn't they, like 2 weeks ago or something, because I always try to like flag science news, and this one they slipped through the cracks, but didn't they just recently drill and pull up a sample and study it, and they're like, oh, well, this is kind of changing the way we thought about some of the elements, or as we got closer to the center of the Earth or to the core.
I haven't heard about this one.
I think there's I'll see if I can find it, but there was a story about like they pulled up something and they don't exactly know what the difference is, but they know that they're seeing something that they'd never seen before.
Interesting.
So that's kind of what I think they're looking for. They may not exactly even know what it is they're looking at.
They're probably just also looking to see how much water is there. That's such the annoying part about loving space. And they're just like, yeah, Mars has liquid water under these ice caps, but is it like a pool of water? Is it like an ocean of water? We don't really know like how much of this water ice is actually up there. We kind of just assume it's there. We've got satellites that show like green glowy bits because it's water and it glows a little bit differently. But
and didn't they see
we got to
like,
get hands on
tide markings? They thought
maybe on the moon.
Not on the moon,
on Mars. I was going to say
on Mars.
No, absolutely. On Mars, all over the place. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mars is just full of running water of evidence everywhere across the entire surface. It's wild.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Mars because that's going to be my next question.
Of course.
So,
Are you mad about Mars too?
Well, much like most Americans, Joe Rogan is basically a scientist to me.
That's how that works, right?
And I saw a clip on TikTok.
And you know what? He looks like a scientist. The most red scientist. That man is so red.
Yeah.
Check your blood pressure.
So I saw a clip on TikTok where Joe Rogan's like, "Look at this square on Mars," and then he was with some other guy. I don't know.
Jamie, pull that up.
And then they were talking about the square on Mars, and they're like, "What is this? Is this evidence of an ancient civilization? Was Mars much like Earth?" And just like every other American, I kept on scrolling. Didn't bother to look into it.
Got enough to be an expert.
Yeah, right.
Moving on.
So what was that square, Spencer?
That was. This is a little square you're talking, aren't you? Am I thinking of the same thing? Because a couple of weeks ago, there was like, are we talking a big square?
Oh,
are we like crop circle size square?
It looked like it basically you couldn't see the full square, but you can kind of see it.
Was it a perfect square, or what? Did it look formed by?
Well, it was a 90-degree angle. It looked like. Now I don't want to ruin it, but I did
ruin it. It's not a movie.
I did just Google it real quick, and then scientists are like, "There's another." They're like, "This is a ridge, and where you're just looking at some natural formation
But wait a
that
minute,
happens to be a square."
What did your scientist say?
Well, Rogan, he said, "I don't know what could this be ancient civilization?" And when he said that, I was like, "Oh yeah."
He is really good at asking a question in a way that implies something.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And then he took a toot off of his mega joint.
Musk is there. And he's
We
like,
saw Musk
"Yeah,
on the
chainsaw."
That guy's got a chainsaw. He's yelling comedy smack. Like, oh my god,
And
you
like, these guys
lunatics.
know they're scientists.
They're lunatics.
They're on Mars. I haven't heard about that one. I saw what's weird just a couple weeks ago, like a small little kind of thing on Mars was also recently circulating, but I think it was an older one that got recirculated. But every single time, it is indeed just a rock.
I like the mask.
So I would just assume it's a rock.
I like that little mask that they had.
That one is a great rock. I love that rock. It's so weird and it's kind of creepy, right?
you.
It's unnerving.
Can
when
I tell
see
you
it.
something, Spencer?
Yeah.
That rock has been around for so long. It's been. I'm 48. That's been around long enough for me to see it as a child and be terrified of.
That's different when you're a child in like the 1890s.
It was the
1810s, something like that.
Yeah.
That was-
Like
we
I
don't have
remember
that kind
the
of
80s,
technology.
right? I think that was like
yeah,
the
that was
80s.
like in search of kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
and when you see that mask on Mars, I remember as a child, I was like, "Oh my god, that's what's going to eat me in the middle of the night." Like, it was terrifying to me.
I get it. I still kind of get creeped out by looking at that thing. And I also believe it's a rock, but like,
Yeah,
are we
I
sure?
know it's a rock, but it's so awesome because it's super scary. Yeah.
Now, am I right in that I heard that Mars did have a core?
Now, wait. Do you want to hear if you're wrong?
I do not. I'm just asking this question. But did the Mars did have a core, and it basically burned out or stopped,
solidified maybe, or stopped spinning. Yeah, we're not quite sure.
Kind of like you and I with this podcast. Oh my god, I am Mars.
And that's essentially what killed the planet, because without the core, like how Earth works is our lava core, basically the Earth's crust keeps basically
we get it.
recycling itself into it, turning back into lava.
Sure.
And that's what keeps us alive and keeps the planet alive. And once that stops, and partly the reason because of our moon, like we have two cores, and that's why it lasted so long. I think Spencer's shaking his head, so kind of right.
But which way is he shaking his head?
But
hold on for the audio
like a
listener. Which
diagonal
way is
one
he
now.
shaking his head? Is he going like this?
Yeah, right. Just like
Or is he
stop
going like
talking.
that?
That's no.
So is there at all a chance that Mars was populated by any sort of life?
Chat
right?
room believes so.
And it's been burnt out for so long that all evidence has turned to dust. And could we find any sort of evidence, even maybe underground, of like, you imagine you found some underground evidence of like support beams from a building or something, like that's kind of ridiculous. But is it in like the far reaches of science? Are any scientists talk about this?
Well,
or is
you're
it,
not going to go up there and find a space boot.
Well, I think that's the thing. Yeah, scientists are. If you're a real scientist, you're not going to make the claim that we're going to find a space boot, but you are going to make the claim that we really hope to find life. It's just that, like, why would you make an assumption on what the life is? We have no information on what that could be, right? And so, but like, the possibility of life being on Mars is the question. It's literally all that NASA's talking about. Like, they've moved all focus into just, is there life on Mars, or was there life on Mars is a better question, I should say. And that's what the Perseverance is over there for. We literally spent $1 billion recently, this was like I think a Max Mini Cooper sized SUV sized thing to Mars, and its whole purpose is to have laser vision to shoot rocks to see if there's like ancient bio stuff in the rocks.
It was more like a Kia Sorento.
Exactly. And like you're saying, the core of Mars has actually stopped spinning as well. It's the magnetic field specifically that went away, which stripped away the atmosphere, because you need an atmosphere to be able to do anything, pretty much, be a functioning planet with life.
I saw Total Recall. I know.
Right, exactly. And it's so cold there with no atmosphere, and so there's no way for water to be a liquid as it stands right now. So it must have had a much thicker, warmer atmosphere at some point for us to see that result of the liquid flowing. But here's the thing. With all that said, now that there's no geological activity, like you mentioned, the magma's cooled down a lot more, the surface isn't changing as much as it does on Earth, those things aren't going to be buried as deep, right? Which is actually a great thing for scientists, because if we were looking on Earth, we have dozens of millions of years, hundreds of millions of years of life to dig through in the Earth, right? And it's constantly getting replaced with new mountains. Mars doesn't do that. We see the water that's probably been there for like 100 million years, and it's still just kind of there on the surface.
So hence why you were kind of beating the drum of Mars, the moon, way easier for us to drill and learn from.
Right, because it's not changing, right? We don't have as much to deal with.
It's a better sample in an experiment because it's no longer actively changing.
You got to get to their place. But once you're there, it's easy peasy, right?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Do scientists believe that, like, let's say our core stops spinning and that's done, Earth's done, like in a billion years from now, whatever, like until the actual sun.
And it's gradual, right? It's not like it just like stops and then we all fly off. Right? Or
but
like, I don't know how that works. How does that work?
That would be aliens.
And then say after 100 million years. Would all evidence whatsoever be dust of our existence?
That's peaceful to me for some reason, you saying that.
Like every building, because after a certain amount of time, everything just turns to dust and turns to nothing, right? So would there be anything at all?
I think we tend to think of the Earth as like changing kind of uniformly across the surface, but our reality is that mountain ranges come and go. Whole oceans will divide the middle of the United States and then go away. The dinosaurs are later. Right? So like specific spots are changing. I would say that most life would be completely buried, right? But there's going to be plenty of evidence. There's going to be some like random valley somewhere that that hasn't changed since the time of the dinosaurs, and like there's going to be random buildings that are still there and everything. I actually recently watched a YouTube video that was talking about like the last signs of life if we were to all die out. Like how long would lights go on for, right? Like if all humans died, like when would lights go out? And obviously our lights here, based on fossil fuels, would go out pretty quick, but there's solar panel lights that would go on for thousands of years, presumably, right? And that's kind of an interesting concept. Like, thousands of years later, we might still just have, like, some functioning technology just permeating, existing. Voyager will still be moving. The Mars will still have the SUV-sized robot.
I want to walk around with just solar lights, all alone, and everyone else is dead.
I mean,
that's peaceful to me.
I think about it.
I bought solar lights on Temu, and they lasted a week.
Yeah, not Temu solar lights. Yeah, they're really good
lights
ones.
that line a walkable path for
they lasted a week.
They are
pretty much highway signs. The ones that the YouTube video pointed out is like, those call boxes on the highway. They've got like this little solar panel and an LED basically, and according to this YouTube video, which I don't know, right? They say these are going to last for like thousands of years because they're just so simple and like the system's just so complete, and it'll just kind of sit there. Which is interesting. But eventually
really
we'll get buried, right? Like a mountain's going to come through, and like over time scales, we're going to bury this stuff in 1 million years. Most of it, at least.
So I get a lot of like science information off TikTok.
They know.
And so I saw a video the other day explaining black holes, and I finally understood black holes. I never understood them until
now
the video.
You're gonna try to regurgitate what you heard.
You can share that
You're gonna
info.
mess it up.
I don't currently understand them. So,
well, no, I'm not. But I
So you've won up Spencer, buddy.
no, I know. Let's get down.
Well,
do
you
it.
watch TikTok? Or?
No, that is
Yeah.
really
you
meaningful,
listen
though.
to Rogan?
Like when you have an intuition, when something clicks in your sciencey brain, like there's something special about it. And I know that feeling you're talking about. Where like, oh, black holes like make sense at a deeper level than I knew what they were, right? But now I kind of intuit them a little more.
Yes, that's
I
what
get
it
that
is.
same feeling when I chug a Sprite.
I mean, you're not wrong. I've got a chai waiting in my car right now.
You know what I'm talking about,
When you get
Jeff?
that head right,
Jeff knows what I'm talking about. That guy
There
knows.
you go.
He knows.
My wind-talking brother, yes, I hear
yes.
you.
So this is what they explain. They're like every planet has an exit velocity, right? And that's what the space shuttle has to reach to get out of our orbit, right?
Okay.
And then like the Earth's exit velocity is like 7 miles a second. It's like that's the speed that you have to go to be able to get out of our gravitational pull and into orbit, right? And so then as the object gets more dense and bigger, like let's say the sun has an exit velocity is way faster than Earth's, obviously, because it's way bigger and has more gravity, right? So that exit velocity is some crazy amount or whatever, and then it gets bigger and bigger until the point where there's no exit velocity that's fast enough to get out of the orbit, and that's a black hole. And then I was like, oh, okay, not even light at the speed of light, which is the fastest traveling thing that we know of in physics, can't get out of the gravitational pull because the exit velocity is more than the speed of light.
Yeah.
And then I was
Where'd
like,
you get
oh.
this, Daddy Long Neck? Who'd you Gucci
Well,
Berry?
he explained it so easily. And then I was like, oh, okay. So then it's like, the mass of this object is so high that there's nothing that can exit it, not even light.
Yeah.
And that's what the black hole is. Now,
So it's an unattainable speed?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, no
so
light can leave it.
So there is a maximum speed.
Yeah.
Light is the maximum
Light
speed.
is maximum. So that does sort of make sense to me, yeah.
Right. The speed of light's not the maximum speed because light chose to go that way or just does go that way. Like, the math eventually hits a limit.
Yeah.
And, like, the massless thing that is light and other massless stuff goes at that limit, right? And so, like, we call it the speed of light, but I don't really like that name. It is the speed limit of the universe, and it's not even the universe. It's the speed limit of logic itself, of math. Math itself gives you a speed limit of existence, of when something is truly massless.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with the black hole that is even more bonkers to think about, which is you take that really nice stepstone of like getting there, but when you get to black hole, it becomes something even different because it's a massless particle. Light itself has no mass.
Right.
It's not interacting with gravity in the same way, right? It's interacting with through just the pure curvature of space-time itself. And so the black hole has to go through like this singularity thing that we just don't quite understand to even be able to succeed in what it does. And you know, it's like all the mass to an infinitely small point, which is different than a star, which has a defined volume, right? A neutron star, all these different things, they have a volume, they have a size. A black hole doesn't have a size. It's a single point of mass.
Yeah, and that's
which is wild.
It's beyond my
It
comprehension.
doesn't make, that's when it no longer makes any sense.
Well, the idea of you talking about light and the process of it just moving is just based on the curvature. When you're talking about like that, and you're saying that, then light really doesn't, it's not choosing to do anything. It just
is.
It just is. Yeah.
Right. It just is. That's how everything is. That's really what we are too. I mean, if you want to, we're all just kind of moving around. Just is right. We're just are.
I've missed you guys.
I know, right?
Yeah, this is fun. I know. I'm serious.
It's been a minute.
It's fun when you guys come in and we start like getting, we get way out there, and I'm like, oh man, Spencer got me.
Well, speaking of stars, I saw this other article in Science and the Universe about they think that water. I don't know if you saw this. That water was around earlier than people previously believed, and because like the universe started with only a base amount of elements, and hydrogen being one of them, but oxygen wasn't made until a star made it, until it was forged inside of a star, just like other elements, and the star exploded, scattering the element across the universe, right? That's how, Neil deGrasse Tyson has some romantic...
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because we're all made of stardust, blah, blah, blah,
I don't like it when people say that, even if it's true. I don't like it when people say that because it makes me feel weak.
Yeah, Stardust. It's it's nice.
I don't like that. Like
it's just protons.
It's like
too.
telling me I'm made of snails and trails of puppy dog tails.
Yeah, it kinda does sound like that.
Don't do that.
The thing that
I'm
really
I'm American.
Yeah, made of hard stuff.
Yeah, I'm steel.
Like neutron dust.
That sounds good.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like a drug, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll back that up.
Yeah. The really cool thing about that is that we are in like the third, fourth generation of stars in our universe right now, the universe being 14 billion years old. For the first 3, 4 billion, 5 billion years, stars like hadn't produced enough heavy atoms yet for life to exist. So the universe was by definition dead for billions of years. It was mostly hydrogen and helium, and there just wasn't enough to make complex matter, right? But after stars die and they go through the cycle, like you're saying, we're finally at the point 14 billion years later where life can even exist. So one of the answers to why is there not a lot of life in the universe is maybe we're just really early. That this is the first time that life could exist because we're so complex. We needed 5 star generations, which take a long time. And when you're talking about the deep scale of the universe, we've got another 2 trillion years left before some heat death happens. So, maybe we're just really early. Maybe we're one of the first aliens.
That's what the
First to the party.
Hey, first on the comments.
That's what the simulation wants you to believe.
Yeah.
That's what Rogan
Do you have
says.
a counterpoint?
Hey, we're all in a simulation because if we can even think about doing a simulation, that means it's already happened.
Right. That's
fair.
I'm joking.
It's a hard logic to get through.
But and then I want to talk about Voyager 1 or 2 because it recently.
What's your favorite? I thought 2 was
The one
a little
they're
slow.
shutting instruments down
Yes,
for?
it was
2, the pacing was a little slow. 1, really.
It was the classic, like the original.
I like
yeah.
the characters better.
So
Right.
in 1977, they launched. I think that was Voyager 1 , right?
That sounds around there, in the 70s.
But they launched a Voyager.
Too tired to check.
And it had its power source was deteriorating plutonium, right? And
Yeah.
And then it's something else too. But they shut down
Yoo-hoo. One bottle of
Just
Yoo-hoo.
right on there, yeah.
And
No milk in that.
it's about to run out of power, so they shut down some operating systems or whatnot to make it last a little longer. Because eventually, I guess, then we'll just lose track of it, and that's it.
Then it's just trash.
But
Right.
it's insane to me, though, just thinking about launching something from 1977 and the fact that it's shot out like a bullet into space, still traveling, hasn't even gotten that far at all. Like, that's the depressing
It's not
part.
that far. Where they show you that, you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Because it's traveling at the speed of a bullet, and it's been since 1977, and it's like, it hasn't even. I mean, not even far at all. Like, I think it didn't pass like Pluto or something. It's like,
Well, it's way past Pluto now. The Voyagers are both kind of like at the edge of the solar system in the Oort cloud, which expands we don't really know how far. Voyager's kind of helping us get that. It actually went through, oh man, I'm going to get the word wrong. It's like helioshock or something. It's like the edge of where the sun's influence reaches the solar system, basically, where the sunlight or where the sun's matter stops influencing, and now only sunlight is influencing.
What's
it's like
the
something
radiation
like
like there?
I think less, actually.
Less?
Yeah, because you're going to stop getting the helium matter. And
Right, right.
You're only getting light radiation. But you're going to get, at that point, cosmic radiation from all of the stars, and our sun actually does a little bit to protect us from all that kind of stuff as well. So, when you get to the interstellar space, it's a different type of radiation for sure. You're still frying.
But the depressing part is that it hasn't even left our solar system completely.
No, it's in the solar system still.
And then you're like, oh yeah, in another 100 million years, it may reach another. So you're just like, what? And then not to mention that there's trillions of other ones that are past that in all directions. That is so infinite you can't even.
But what if it just keeps going for forever?
It will
Awesome.
essentially.
But that to me is I don't know why there's something very peaceful and cool about that. I'm
it
like,
does,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, it does go
What's
forever.
forever?
I mean,
It's impossible.
Space
Even
itself
understand.
is expanding. So, the distance between you and me, if we sit here long enough, the space expands, is getting bigger, right? And as long as we travel less than how fast space is expanding, then you're never going to reach the end. And so it is infinite to any kind of human technology.
Because it's ever
because
increasing.
you'll never be able to reach the end. It's going to expand faster than you could ever travel. And so it's infinite to us. And but there is still a boundary, which is annoying to comprehend.
Did you see the article about they think that it's expanding in different areas at different speeds?
It's got to be. I've been thinking this since college, and no one's been listening to me. That's not real science, but that's just something. There's no other explanation for the crisis in cosmology.
In his dorm room,
I know.
At his
I really was. I was on the chalkboard, look at this.
Yeah. It's this is. I've been saying this for years. It's so it's growing more like an amoeba and less like a big round ball growing.
I guess that's kind of
like. Okay, so there are some things like the speed limit of the universe, not the speed of light, but they're the same, that are defined by logic itself, by math becoming a thing. There are other numbers like pi is another example of that. Pi 3.14 and whatever, that's a result of circles doing what circles do. But there are some numbers that are constants that we don't know why they're that number. 2.71, why isn't it 2.70, right? And there's a few of these physical constants in space. And so one of the things I always found fascinating in college is that these physical constants might be different at different parts of the universe. And when that constant is a certain value, that's what gives rise to the complex creation here. But down there where E is 2.72 instead, life doesn't quite exist the same. Physics is working differently there, right? But it's still the same universe. It's just that physics functions slightly different. I've always thought something like that because there is that crisis right now where we're measuring distant things and we're just getting different data. And it doesn't make any sense. It's a real problem. And the web is still making it worse. Every time that I come back, it's just the web made it worse again.
Yeah. And so, Spencer, what's frustrating to me and probably to a lot of people, and that's probably why, it gets to the point where
this is where he goes on a rant about timeshares. No. He really hates them.
Sit down here.
He's been waiting to chastise you guys. He's been waiting to yell at you all day.
Why can't I use them at different weekends? And it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm following, and then all of a sudden you start getting to a concept where it's
I do that all the time. I'll be reading an article and then I'm like, I'm out.
I'm like, I literally think no amount of explanation can get my dumb brain to understand what they're saying.
Definitely not, especially you who have so much primed. All you have to do is get Spencer. It in just the way to get that intuition click, like you got with the black hole.
Yeah.
And once you get that 25,000 times, you know physics.
No, you do that to me, dude. No, that's not true because gambling, right? I'm not in there. I'm not a math guy. I'm a word guy, right? I'm an English major. That's what I love. But he'll explain, he'll dumb down a gambling thing for me and it will make sense. Mm-hmm. You just need somebody like Spencer because you start to go too fast and you're also a know-it-all.
Yeah. Gambling is easy compared to the physics, the different physics of the different parts of the universe.
Yeah, but every time he explains it to you, understand it.
No, I just shake my head.
I mean, we're talking about stuff
politeness.
You need a PhD.
Like when my nanny used to talk to me. Well, because now you're like, well, physics could be different in different parts of the universe, and I'm like, it doesn't even.
But you got to get to 21 to win.
Red or black or double zero.
Dangerous one.
Double down.
Do you want insurance?
Yeah. Because then it's like you're like, well, the physics and math, how we understand it, could be different, and now you're like, well, then it's just like the Marvel saying that there's.
No, you like finites. No, you like answers. No,
right? I mean,
because math, to me, it's like, okay, math is the truth.
Yes.
And then I'll just math is the truth. I'll live by math. Yeah. That's my religion. And then you're like, okay, that's fine for our math. But that might not be true. Yeah. Well, and you're like, oh no.
Here's the thing, because I'm with you all the way up until math is the religion, because math is 1 + 1 is 2, right? And then you take that and you get a little bit more complex. You do subtraction, multiplication. You start building on just this concept that 2 apples are just 1 apple and 2 apples become 2 apples. It's just logic itself creating all of this complexity. And all of that comes from just the simple logic. The constants being slightly different is not based in logic. It's just a number that exists because. And that's not cool for science, right? We want to be able to get from 1 + 1 to the answer, right? And it's a long chain to get there sometimes. But Einstein did that with general relativity. He went from 1 + 1. He invented new math. He invented a new chain, and then he found that E = mc squared and the speed of light of the universe and all that stuff. Like that all came from 1 + 1. But like the constants are not math. That's the thing. That's why they're sneaky, because they might be math, but as far as we can tell, we haven't seen the math
yet. So the constants are changing, but the math is
math is logic.
The math
1 + 1 is always going to be 2,
right.
no matter what side of the universe you're on.
But the universe is not.
But gravity might behave a little bit differently.
Right.
The curve might be a little sharper at some points, right? Because of some random constant that exists, right? So yeah, I still believe in math, I guess is my point. Like math is the one true everything.
Well, but then there's still, I do like that there's still questions, there's still stuff we don't know.
Because it makes you mad.
And
that's passion.
Like being
no,
mad.
but that is,
I mean,
we make a lot of jokes on here, but I think everybody knows that the reason he gets frustrated about it is because, I mean, truthfully, he's interested in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool topic. That's why I missed you guys. I like having you in, because we always get into these things, and then they carry on to the dinner table tonight with Maisie. Well, what'd you do today, Dad? Well, let me tell you.
It's why I'm not afraid of ghosts, and I'll explain.
Okay. All right. That's weird, but let's go. Let's go.
I wish I saw a ghost or something supernatural. I would want it so bad that it would be worth it killing me just so I could see it and be like, oh, there's some sort of thing I was convinced this wasn't real. Yeah.
How do you want it to kill you?
Supernatural. And then the fact, dark matter, and the fact that we don't know what it is, and there's something that is like out there that's affecting gravity, and we know it is there. We have no idea what it is. I'm like, oh, like I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm like, because it means that
cool.
the mystery. It makes me excited because I'm like, oh, maybe one day they will find it out in my lifetime, but probably not. That's what makes me so mad.
You're like a jaded, pessimistic into science.
Yeah, because I'm like, just like the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl. I'm like, I'm never gonna win it in my lifetime, because then I'm like, oh, it's too short.
But we always say, oh, this is over, this is done, and then like we were just looking for just some science things to talk to you about. They found a different dinosaur yesterday.
Right. Oh yeah, they're always finding new dinosaurs.
It's like, we got tons to figure
There's
out.
always something to discover.
Yeah,
and
tons.
Humans will walk on Mars in our lifetime. Like that's going to happen, right?
I mean, assuming we make it home okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I just want to see him walk on it.
I want my turn the camera. Everyone got their moon landing back in '69, and I'm like, I wasn't there yet.
Oh, I saw an article.
We got the chopsticks, the chopsticks.
That's something. We got a lot of cool stuff. Honestly,
we do. Yeah, we got some cool stuff, but I don't know. Moon landing would have blown my mind.
Well, the article that I read say there was they're predicting 2028 that they'll have boots on the moon like human beings. Now
it's just no longer NASA. Like NASA's just not going to be the first ones that do it, right? So, but that is going to escalate it so fast for sure.
Which also means we get a couple of those where the guy's using the Xbox controller to go see the Titanic. We're going to get a few of these guys that get up there and they're running it lean. Which
we've seen SpaceX crash their Starship, which is intended for Mars. They've crashed it 40 times now, something ridiculous, and most of them were kind of intentional, but a lot of them aren't, and that's SpaceX. So when the next best comes and tries, they're it's going to be really hard to land on Mars. I hope that they are prepared. It seems just I'm all for the private industry. It's just that there's obviously less regulation with it than you would get with NASA. NASA's not going to send people there unless it's safe.
Spencer,
private companies are going to send people
slows
there.
us down. We got to work fast.
I also do think when they do put humans on the moon and then we see it as all HD or watch it, and then they start talking about how hard it was to do, that's going to blow up the conspiracy theory even more that we did it back in the 60s. Because we're going to have a bunch of engineers and this cost this much, it was this hard to do, we're like, wait, because
you did it with a biplane.
When we see it the second time so long later, I think that's going to just
we
blow
waited too
the
long.
Conspiracy theories up.
You think we waited too long?
Yeah. We should have done it in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
pre-internet.
Kind of like the Ghostbusters second movie. Waited too long, man. You can't wait that long.
Again, let's talk about the summer camps. And this is we having these discussions is why you should send your kids to.
Don't you want your kid to be curious about space and about nature and about animals and about technology and STEM and all of these things that it's not like that's getting less.
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, we live in a time where, I mean, just also, there's nothing that sucks more than when your parents have to work or do something, and you have to just stay at home, and you have zero to do. You have literally all your for me, all my friends would go on vacation and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God for camps or places to go and hang out and do stuff.
I was telling my sons the other day, I was like, did you know the Earth, like we think it's all rocky and there's huge elevation changes, but even like the deepest part of Earth and the Mount Everest is only like 20 miles different, whatever. Like, and if you are a giant and you rubbed your finger around Earth, it'd be as smooth as a cue ball, and like you wouldn't be able to feel anything. Like it's that smooth.
Let me ask you this: if you were a giant and you're rubbing your finger across the Earth like a cue ball, did you wash your hands before you did that?
That explains
Not
so
with the
You gotta
special
wash your
soap.
hands. I don't think giants wash their hands. I know that's not science.
They can't
but-
find a sink big enough.
Look at this guy coming with logic.
That's pretty
Jeff,
good.
man.
That's pretty good.
Jeff's been sitting on his logic
Yeah.
all day. Comes with like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Jeff, for the camps, like, you drop your kids off in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's a great setup. You drop them off, say, around 8:30. They're in camp from like 9 to 4:30, and you pick them up after that. We also have an early drop-off and a late pickup option for just a small additional fee.
Parents have to work sometimes.
Yeah,
man.
and
this
that's
is-
exactly what it is. It's the best thing for working parents because if the kids can be out of school, but you're not off work, and it gives them something really cool to do. They're around other kids. They're with our camp staff that is very well trained, and they're checking out the Science Center, not just the Science Center, but doing cool themed activities, stuff with chemistry, space exploration, animals, cooking, all kinds of great
What
stuff.
Mayla, she did one, and we did, just so you guys know, we did one with I forget what we did, one of the later pickup ones. And there was one day where you just, like, she went there, and I was like, what was your favorite day? Well, they just let her go, like, oh, you can go to any exhibit you want.
Right.
It's like, here, it's your Science Center. Have fun. There you go. And she was like, well, that.
Yeah.
If you're a little independent 9-year-old girl,
Yeah, you get
you're
all that
like,
freedom.
what? I got the whole center, man.
I mean, that's part of it, right? That freedom is part of scientific exploration.
Yeah.
So part of what makes my job like easy, quote unquote, is that like if I just make people think better, that is science, right? And so like if you are embracing freedom or embracing play, like Jeff mentioned, play is not a bad thing. It's how kids learn. It is science for kids, and it can be science for adults if we let us, right? The natural curiosity, like when you go and talk to your kids about the cue ball and they go, okay, cool, Dad, and they go back to whatever they were doing, like
How'd you know what they said?
I know, right?
Are you in my house?
That natural curiosity is not just there. It doesn't just exist, and we take it for granted if we have it. It has to be stimulated, and it has to be kept up with, too. It's not just for your kids, but for yourself. If you want to learn to think better, then start going and trying to think better. Like, go to the Science Center, go find cool things to just, like, critically think and try and challenge your brain in ways that we're not doing right now, right? And that's what's going to make you more curious and make you think smarter, which is our goal here.
Love it.
Yeah, leaving them home and letting them just play Roblox all day will not teach them anything.
No.
That game does not teach anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's any science on there. I've looked. I'm like, what is this?
Actually, Max was catching a megalodon the other day, and but then
Not the one Maisie plays. Maisie plays one where, and I kid you not, where she had a little, it looked like a Lego girl that looks like her, like a blonde ponytail, a pink top, and a little white skirt. And she's standing in front of an ATM machine, and it's just the numbers are going. And then every once in a while, her little Lego person will hit a red button, and then money will fly out of it. And she's like, "Yes, free money!" And I'm like, "What is this?
What
are you learning here? You're just standing in front of an ATM machine,
I
just
don't know.
slamming the button to get money."
I know physics, but I do not know Roblox. I don't understand it.
I hate it.
Spencer, Jeff, thanks so much for coming by.
Yeah, thank you
thanks
guys.
for having us.
Anytime.
Website, osc.org.
Yeah.
You could sign up right on the website.
Lots of stuff to look at there. Sign up, become a member, use it. You will not. You'll be thanking us later.
Yeah, and check out that License to Spy exhibit.
Yes.
It's really cool. And we will see you next week.